All right, calling the meeting to order at 4 p.m. Roll call vote.
Trustee Barto?
Yes?
Trustee Matoye?
Here.
Trustee Crane?
Here.
Trustee Anderson?
Here.
Trustee Ursulou?
Here.
Trustee Weigand?
Here.
Trustee Yelsey?
Here.
Dr. Smith?
Here.
Okay, now we move to adoption of the agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Trustee Crane, seconded by Trustee Matoye. Roll call vote.
Trustee Barto?
Yes?
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
We now move to community input on closed session item only. Seeing no community input, we move to closed session. The items are 5A, conference with labor negotiator, and 5B, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, employment. We will return to open session at 6 p.m. We are moving to closed session at 4:01 p.m. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. We move to the moment of reflection, Pledge of Allegiance, led by Student Board Member Kate Cherry.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, adoption of the minutes from 8/16/22. May I have a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved.
Second. It's been moved by Trustee Crane, seconded by Trustee Yelsey. Roll call vote.
Trustee Barto?
Yes?
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Okay, it is our pleasure to introduce new staff, Dr. Ishel Sanchez, principal of Tewinkle Middle School. Dr. Torres.
Hi, good evening. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Dr. Ishel Sanchez this evening. Dr. Sanchez is our newly appointed principal of Tewinkle Middle School, and love to share just a few facts about Dr. Sanchez. She has over 26 years of experience in education. She spent 21 years in the Downey Unified School District, 10 of those as a teacher, teaching ELD, and many years of administrative experience. She has experience at both the middle school and the high school level. So I'd like to welcome up Dr. Sanchez to say a few words this evening.
Hi, good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Smith, and cabinet. First, I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity to work at Tewinkle and to serve the community. It is my passion and my ongoing dream to work within education, to work with children. And I am so privileged to continue the hard work that's being done at Tewinkle with the expansion of learning opportunities for all students and to focus on the whole student. So thank you. Thank you for allowing me to continue my dream as an educator and allowing me to continue to work with students and staff and community members, because it's not work, it's my passion. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Welcome. All right, now we move to 11 presentations. Newport-Mesa Spirit Run 2022 check donation. We have a presentation from Diane de Rudy, Newport-Mesa Spirit Run Chair.
I'll go ahead and just mention as she walks up that I've said this many times, 11 months, we have amazing community allies that support the great work in this district, and the Newport-Mesa Spirit Run Incorporated is one of those. And we're going to ask Trustee Yelsey to go up and receive this big check.
Can I just say, would you like to say something first? No, on behalf of all of us, all of the district, I just want to thank Diane for doing this. She's been doing this a long time. She was involved when it was part of our Corona Del Mar zone school system. It went away. The schools decided they could raise money in a much easier way, and she knows how difficult it is to put on this race. but decided she wanted to continue it. So she kept the Spirit Run name and has been doing it ever since. How many years now?
2006.
Yeah, 2000,
do the
16
math,
years, because I
16
know that
years.
was the first year I was on the school board. So 2006, 16 years, and she's done an amazing job, has included all of the schools in our district, which was pretty amazing. It's not just for one district, it's for every school in our district, and she does such a great job of bringing in kids from all those schools. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks. And now we move to our student board member reports. We have Trustee Matoye leading this one.
Thank you. We're so fortunate tonight. Newport-Mesa has student board members, one representing each of our high schools that attend our board meetings, give us the input straight from the students on what we're doing and how well we're doing. And they take turns, but this time we start with the student that's on the dais, and then we move to alphabetical orders of the schools rather than the students. So thank you, and Kate, you can lead us off. As long as the pointy end
Been a
points
while.
at your mouth, you're good.
Is that good?
Yep.
Cool, thank you.
Very good.
Good evening, Superintendent Smith, President Bartow, and members of the board. Tonight marks the first official school board meeting for the new student board members and myself, and also the beginning of a great new year. Tonight we were asked to report on how the beginning of this school year is different from last year's. This year, we did not start school with masks or distancing, which allowed for students and teachers to connect with each other more and to have better interactions. Students have been engaged in the classroom and established a better connection with both their peers and teachers. Personally, for Newport Harbor, we've been able to have indoor rallies instead of outdoor, which has also been really good because we've been able to keep the attention of the students, which was something we struggled with a little bit last year. We also have introduced the Raptor system, which encourages attendance and punctuality. It has mixed reviews at the moment, but in the future will become more effective, we believe. I think the biggest difference, however, is the bell schedule difference. So instead of starting at 8, we start now at 8:30. With this, students are able to get more sleep, and especially for those who stay up late doing their homework because of sports or other extracurriculars, this gives them at least another 30 minutes of sleep, which is very much appreciated. Since we're able to study more and be more interactive in class and just kind of overall be more present. So that's really helped, especially I know personally for me and a lot of my other peers that I talk to, this has been a big change for us and that we feel we are more productive both in class and outdoor and outside of class. So those would probably be the biggest changes from the start of this year and the start of last year. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Feel free. Cloud Campus, Ethan?
Hello, Superintendent Smith, President Bartow, members of the board. Cloud Campus, our year changed off firstly with our schedule changing from a more teacher-based schedule to a block schedule like other high schools have. We also did a beginning of the year assignment, which was called the boot camp, Cloud Campus Boot Camp, where each department did a different type of assignment in order to get you ready for the school year. For example, the language department, such as my Spanish class, did what they expect to see from you on Zoom. So like no PJs, make sure you have faces in the camera. Or other skills like being able to look around on the website of Cloud Campus and a lot of other stuff that would help you later in the year. And we also start a bit later with the change to the beginning of the day. And that is all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
TJ from Corona Del Mar?
Glad I was able to sneak in here on time.
Yes, good job.
Shocker, shocker. Coach O'Shea let us out late again, so my apologies. Good evening, board, Superintendent Smith, and Executive Cabinet. I'm TJ Rokos, ASB President at Corona Del Mar, and of course, a student school board member. Before I deliver my first report, I wanted to express my gratitude for the opportunity to serve my community. We've had a tremendous start here at Corona Del Mar. We've hired, enrollment is way up, so we've hired 5 new teachers. School spirit has also skyrocketed, as evidenced by attendance at our home football games. I'll use last Friday night as an example. Despite hurricane-like conditions and a tough loss to San Clemente, ASB planned a neon night which featured a DJ, bright-colored T-shirts, and lights. Even my usual too cool for school teammates commented, sorry, I lose my spot, commented on how great the atmosphere was. And yes, for those wondering, my teammates and even some coaches give me a hard time for my work in ASB and on this board, but this time they seem to have appreciated it. Seriously, anything that goes wrong at the school, they like to blame on me, so I know how you guys feel. We've worked on outreach to new students at the school with new student luncheons. We have a record high budget thanks to our new parking system that was put in place. I worked very closely with Dr. Haley this summer to get that going. Overall, yes, there is still a barrier of super entitled children at CDM, shocking. But we are working hard to break that stereotype with our many inclusive events. I also praise all of you here for appointing Dr. Haley as principal. I couldn't have picked a better pick myself. He has shown a willingness to work with students and has really found his place in the community. He loves football, so we bonded instantly, and he even texts me after every game, usually highlighting the plays I messed up on. Yay. He also picked a great athletic director in Mr. Walsh, so CM feels like a community in after COVID. Now that the easy stuff is out of the way, I do feel the need to address the controversial issues facing the school and the district. I wasn't going to at first, but it was after student demand coming to me as their leader and saying, we don't agree with this stuff. So first, certain pages in my health textbook are extremely concerning. I come to these meetings and I see people talking and I didn't really know what to think until I actually opened it. First, certain pages in my health textbook contain 10 gender identities and whatever a romantic orientation is. Sorry, this doesn't get my vote, and it also doesn't have the backing of my school student body, not to mention science. I know the CDM community is more conservative than most, and I'm not here on some political mission. These concerns were simply brought to me, as I said, by students and parents at my school. These hot button issues should be discussed at home, but regardless of your position on sex ed, something that no one in the audience has brought up is why are we teaching it to seniors? I don't mean to get inappropriate here, but whatever is actually helpful to my peers and myself in that textbook, which does not appear to be much, we have already experienced in real life. In America, we'll just keep it brief here, but people lose their virginity at 17, even younger for men. We teach them what they need to know, usually 1 year past this mark. So now you've heard a lot of complaining from me. That's not what my brand is, so I'm gonna give you a solution. Let's teach health to freshmen or at least sophomores, not seniors, and let's get a fact-based textbook rooted in abstinence. Secondly, and finally, there have been concerns brought up to me about the American pageant textbook. I was actually a fan of this textbook at first. It prepared me very well for the AP US History test, which I received a 5 on. And I'm gonna ask for a round of applause, because that is that's a very challenging test, I will point that out. We didn't even read the controversial part in the end, talking about the former president in class. Probably a smart move by Ms. Mayberry, because I know some people would have objected to their claims they made. The sad thing is those last few pages in question don't even appear on any test, including the AP one. So I'm appalled at why they even felt the need to mention it in the textbook, because besides that, I had nothing but a positive review. Anyway, after reading those last few pages, I'm calling on the board to replace those textbooks with ones that do not have a political agenda. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Costa Mesa, Isabella Mills. Isa.
Good evening, board members. I'm Isabella Mills, the representative for Costa Mesa High School. I will admit that I was recently informed of my position, so I am not as prepared as I believe I should be. However, I would like to speak a little bit on this prompt, one of which is I believe Costa Mesa High School has experienced many of the same things that Newport Harbor has in regards to obviously the bell schedule, and there are mixed reviews from that, but very many people are very grateful for that extra half an hour of time. We would also, I talked to a couple of my peers, and I did get a couple of complaints, but there was a general consensus in that they like the new bell schedule and also would like to point out the harsher restrictions about student whereabouts on campus, which very many of my senior peers are a little upset about, not being able to access their lunch from their cars. And I personally have experienced this. And very many people are saying that we should be using our lockers, which is understandable to say the least, but it is very convenient when someone has a car to be able to put all of their textbooks and belongings. And sometimes lockers don't really fit all of the things we need during the school day. So I would like the consideration of a little more leniency. Aside from that, that's it. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Typically at a board, the next person up would be Marcelina from Early College High School. While you're coming up, come up and I'll just keep talking. Okay, it's hard to stop me once I get started. We typically have 2 student board members report out at each meeting because like today, it's a lot of things can or cannot be similar. So that way, you don't always have to have one more homework assignment every single time. But you guys all have a schedule now, so we're good. Thank you very much. You may proceed. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, members of the board, and good evening to everybody attending this board meeting. I'm Marcelina Sanchez from Early College High School. One thing I've noticed coming back on campus is that we can plan spirit weeks in ASB, planning house comps. For those of you who aren't aware what house comps are, our school is basically divided into 4 houses like Harry Potter, and we compete against each other for house points. Before COVID, we were doing that online, and that made it very difficult to play like different games. But now that we're back on campus, we can do outdoor activities, and we're planning our spirit weeks now. And we're also planning a dance, which is really exciting because now we can all be together and interact with each other, which is amazing. What I have noticed at school is people are, especially the freshmen, are really excited to be involved, something that was way more difficult before COVID and online. So I'm really happy to see that the freshmen are getting involved in our school and wanting to learn more. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Estancia High School, Fernando Barranon. Let me just double the Barranon. It's a double R.
Yeah. Do I use this?
Yeah, just talk and it picks up everything. You don't have to touch it or move it or anything.
Okay. Hello, Superintendent Smith, President Bartow, and fellow Board of Trustees. The start of the school year was different than last year in the sense of students at Estancia are now starting the school year off without having a mask mandate and looking more closely at last year. We were limited to what we can do, such as school activities with pep assemblies, lunch games, as well as field trips. And now the Lyceum program at Estancia is preparing for their first field trip in a few weeks to UCI. And I also wanted to bring up about like the time change now that there's this whole new policy where schools start 30 minutes later. For me personally, that doesn't really like affect me because I have like a 0 period, so I have to be there early anyways. So I mean, it's great that I'm there like 30 minutes like later. It's still the same for me, but for many students, it's kind of been a struggle. But for others, it's like great because like at Estancia, there's been like issues with attendance, but I recently spoke to the principal and the assistant principal, Mr. Hull and Ms. Chamberlain at Estancia, and I asked them about how the attendance rate has been compared to last year, and they said that it's been a major improvement. Like now that it's 30 minutes later, people are attending their classes, are actually motivated to go to school. But the downside to that is that with students is there's a lot going on in people's lives. Like you don't really know the circumstances. So sometimes when you show up late to class unintentionally, that kind of like really brings down the students' vibe or energy because like I said, so many people go through things and to like have to stay after school for like 20-30 minutes, I feel like that's too harsh. And that what I've been trying to like suggest to Estancia is that we kind of like create a system where we like give like warnings instead of detention. And after like the third warning or so, you get a detention. But overall, it's been great at Estancia. The school spirit has been improving gradually. Now that we implemented the 5-star app, where you get points based on the events that you attend, and I feel like this year is gonna be a great one for sure. Thank you.
Excellent. Student board members and Mrs. Franco, student board members, this is like one of the rare occasions when you're all here. So we would love to get a picture of everyone. Mrs. Franco, I didn't prepare you for this, but would you take a picture of all of our student board members? If you'll come up and stand in front, Kate, if you'll go down and join them. TJ, you know your world is in the back. Yes. you may not even have to. There's not.
Oh,
Perfect.
I want a picture of that. Make sure we get that.
Yes. Well done, you guys. I didn't look to see who was officially assigned. Is everybody just here? So stay until you, everybody stays today, yes? We didn't tell them, sorry, you're all in for it tonight. Okay, thank you so much. Oh, just Kate has to stay? No, okay. Stay as long as you like. Kate, you get to be here till the bitter end, but the rest of you, you're good. We have some Harbor Council reports coming up. You're welcome to stay and listen to whatever you'd like to. So thank you so much, and we really appreciate you all.
Thank you. All right, now we have our Harbor Council PTA report. Vicki Waldo tonight.
Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Smith and Cabinet, it's my pleasure to be here tonight to represent Harbor Council PTAs. We have 28 PTAs in the district, and we're proud of every one of them. They're out there right now working on their membership campaigns, trying to grow and get the surge from COVID going now. We've been quite successful with it. We're over 50% of our goal for the year already. And a big help to this has been the Join Totem program, which you can go online, jointotem.com, and find the school that you'd like to be a member of, put in a credit card. You can print your own membership card. It's super simple, and this has been a very streamlined effort for our schools to be able to easily sell memberships without doing it person to person. jointotem.com. So we have over 3,000 members now as of today. We are sponsoring also the PTA Walk to School Day on October 5th. We are participating in that and have had several of our schools sign up for this. And you can get posters, you can get banners, you can give little freebies to the kids that do it. PTA sponsors many little things that will help contribute to this. The schools that have already signed up are Anderson, Killybrook, Mariners, Newport Heights, Victoria, and Whittier. And we hope to join some more in the next week or two. Upcoming programs. We are sponsoring an informal coffee chat with Dr. Smith with our schools. Harbor Council is trying to put together a schedule now where we would have one session in September to November and one session in February to April. It would be sponsored at 2 of the high schools one day and another 2 of the high schools another day, where he could come out and for a short time just have coffee with parents that would like to have answers to their questions, meet him, interface with him, etc. So we're very excited about that. We want to promote the community involvement. With that, we are also going to sponsor a candidate forum for the school board elections that are coming up. It's going to be held either October 10th or 12th. We are still waiting to hear back from the moderator as to which day will work best for her. We're going to have Bev Berryman from the 4th District PTA come down to be the moderator, which we're very excited about because she's held many, many forums before. So we're busily right now putting this together and are very excited about it. And that's where we're at today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got CSEA President Pam Saunders.
Good evening, Board President Bartos, School Board, Superintendent Dr. Wes Smith, Cabinet, and guests. CSEA appreciates this opportunity to speak tonight. I would like to thank the negotiations team for all their hard work this year. Thanks to the school board and chief negotiators, Leona Olson, for always hearing what we have to say and always listening to all our concerns for classified employees. Thank you for approving our tentative agreement and MOUs tonight. Thank you to the commitment and dedication from all classified employees. I would like to thank Dr. Wes Smith for always showing our classified employees how important they are to the district. It is with happiness and sadness and a heavy heart that I will be retiring October 10th. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as CSEA chapter president for the past 6 years and an employee of Newport-Mesa for 21 years. I would like to thank everyone so much for all their hard work for the last 6 years of my presidency. I appreciate everyone so much. I am so proud of all the classified employees. I would like to thank the district for all their collaboration with us. We have accomplished so much in the last 6 years. I am going to miss everyone so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. Thank you, CSEA.
Thank you, Pam. You'll be missed. Now we have NMFT President Sarah Allwater.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I'm not retiring. Good evening, President Bartow, board members, Superintendent Smith, and cabinet members. It's good to be able to speak to you tonight. I want to start by thanking all of our teachers and service providers for a successful start of the school year. We see how hard you are working and know the relationships you're creating now in the beginning of the year will lead to the future successes of the kids and the school district as a whole. Next, I want to acknowledge and pay special thanks to the classified staff, all of them, but in particular the instructional aides. We couldn't do our jobs without you. We know you are spread thin at times because of staffing shortages, and we want to support you to do the vital work of assisting teachers and specialists. We know that the district is making and has made significant efforts to fill in the hiring gaps. We just want you to continue with those efforts and know that the shortage of aides is being felt significantly. I encourage the board to support in any way possible whatever is asked for by the district to increase and maintain aides where and when needed. It's my understanding that also that at times this can be mean more shifting around and movement that's requested by people, and I just want to let those staff know that we see and understand those challenges and the added stress that can cause, and again, thank them. And we want to encourage everyone to remember the important work they do and to help convey appreciation. I want to let the board know that NMFT continues to work with Sarah Jocham and other SPED leaders to address any and all issues that arise in special ed. I remain committed to my last comment before you here that NMFT considers seeking information, listening to the teachers and specialists, and conveying that information as promptly as possible is vital work of the NMFT this year especially. Finally, I want to preemptively support some of the comments that will be made tonight from teachers that are here independently to support the work that you do as public school board trustees and all of the employees and educators that make this great public school district run. We are in the business of maintaining the greatest vessel of democracy and freedom in the entire world. That's what you do, that's what we do. And the attacks, inflammatory, at times unfounded accusations against the work they do, it wears on them and they see it. And it detracts from our good purpose, and it needs to be checked at times, and I support that.
Thank you. And now we move to community input on non-agendized items.
Can I clarify one thing really quickly? I just wanted to share while everyone is here before people may leave, several other dates about Walk to School Day, so people can include them in their calendars, or do we want to do that later?
We have to do that later.
Okay.
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items not on the regular meeting agenda. Comments on non-agenda topics are limited to 3 minutes per comment, up to 20 minutes per topic. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another person. By order of the Brown Act, Section 54954.2, the board will take no action nor have any discussion on non-agendized items. The superintendent may provide clarification during superintendent's comments.
Okay, thank you. We have Michelle Pompeo Linford.
Pompeo.
Sorry, Pompeo.
President Bartow, Superintendent Smith, and members of the board, thank you for this chance to speak on a topic close to my heart, books and the students who love them. I'm just ankle high in my 38th year of teaching English at Costa Mesa High School, but I am shoulder deep in anguish at some of the remarks to you I deem as extreme and deeply unwise regarding a proposed cavalier removal of books from our students' hands. Years ago, I taught Ray Bradbury's novel, Fahrenheit 451. To supplement the novel about the folly of banning, and in this case, burning books, we studied the sordid, real history of book banning and burning under repressive regimes on both the left and the right, and shook our heads. My students believed that book banning was the province of the small-minded, of the fearful, and of the anti-democratic, and so do I. Our district does not want to be on the wrong side of history. We do not want to be the book banning district. Of course, there may be any number of reasons to include or remove a book from our curriculum. And rest assured that our schools have robust processes in place to do so. But flat out banning a book, short-circuiting our professional processes, limits the potential of our students. I acknowledge that every book is offensive to someone, and anyone can find or feign a rationale for banning virtually any book. I acknowledge that we as teachers are not infallible. And as the parent of a high school student myself, I think that parents have a vested interest in school curricula. I would go even farther. I think parents are a child's most important lifelong teachers. We Newport-Mesa teachers have earned our degrees, studied child and adolescent psychology, and understand how vital the right book at the right time can be for students. Our district already has comprehensive systems in place for curricular design, which properly include heavy layers of public oversight. We follow federal, state, county, district, site, and grade level guidelines, along with professional standards, such as those set forth by the College Board and the International Baccalaureate, to select a variety of texts. However, this variety means that potentially any text may be seen as inappropriate, uncomfortable, or even distasteful to someone. But if you ban a book because one person or even a handful of people object to it, you cheat the majority of students out of a rich reading life. I do not need to school anyone in this room about how empowering and magical reading is. And I thank you, Board, for standing up to the forces that would have you pull books off shelves for all just because of the view of a few. Thank you for trusting your teachers and librarians to continue giving just the right book at just the right time to our students, for it is our greatest joy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Matt Armstrong.
Thank you, President Bartow, Superintendent Smith, and Board Trustees for your service. In 2019, a change.org petition in our community gathered 668 signatures. Among its numerous canards and mistruths, it claimed our schools promoted white supremacy. And what was their demand? Anti-bias training. This year, a new change.org petition to form a book review committee garnered 444 signatures. The petitioners claim not to want book bans, but they can't explain how they would enforce the committee's clear parameters, or what would happen to the health resources denied by their 12-person jury. When your first line is, "I don't want to ban books," you probably want to ban books. I was intimately involved in responding to the complainants years ago, and they had a lot in common with today's. In each case, the petition was written by people who had children who did not have children in our schools. Their arguments were rooted in factual errors. The protesters normalized violence. And back then, the board ultimately cut off the conversation, and we've reached that point with the current COP of partisans. They've made their case in every forum. They've taken up a year-long residency in these meetings. They've been printed in the local papers and picked up by the national press. They've worked the cancel culture angle through Newport-Mesa Uncensored. And they've been in the email accounts and offices of administrators up and down the chain of command. We've engaged in hard conversations. We've listened. We've worked to assuage their fears. We've spoken candidly. We've endured their misrepresentations. We've held our breath and prayed when they've made thinly veiled threats. And now they call us groomers, pedophiles. And there is guidance for reporting sexual misconduct in board policy. Anyone who suspects inappropriate activity should report it. As this podium is not the place to adjudicate such claims, it is not the place to make such accusations. For this reason alone, the board could easily refuse to hear more from these fringe elements. Then there are numbers. There are about 80,000 tax-paying households in our district, so when 444 petitioners come in hot, arguing, "I'm a taxpayer," they represent only 0.55% of those constituents. Even a gracious assumption that every signature represents 10 others, and you're still only dealing with 5% of the community at most. Yet somehow they think they're fighting for a majority. For too long, these folks have been the only voice. And though you wouldn't know it from listening to them, most students and parents are pleased with our schools. You have a clear warrant to cut the microphone off on them. Either way, we are here to put on the public record a counter-narrative from the true majority, the centrists who you were elected to represent. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Bill Dunlap.
Thank you, board members, Dr. Smith, and all those here. I must share with you, when I walked in, someone commented on my coat and says it was extreme. So with that being said, I think I'll kind of point to a letter that was written by Dr. Bolton and some comments that were made publicly by the last speaker. The statements that were made in Dr. Bolton's letter, I'm sure you've all read it. I'm assuming that a lot of you might have worked with Dr. Bolton on that letter, because it seemed to be timed, interestingly enough, with Mr. Armstrong's release of his comments, calling me, and I'm taking that seriously, an extremist, and I wore my coat accordingly. So with that being said, there were some comments made. First was false narratives. He named 4 people, one of them was me, and so I'm trying to figure out where the false narratives are. I won't go over this in detail, but as you know, Fox News did an investigative report regarding the ADL. The ADL admitted that their mantra of being anti-defamation league to stop anti-Semitism was not exactly their total purpose. There was embedded in that, obviously, implicit bias, training, CRT, whatever, and they've admitted that. But we'll move on. But I don't know what he's accusing, what false narrative that is. Misrepresentation of op-eds. I responded to Mr. Armstrong's comments regarding an article written by Wendy Lease in May. And now all of a sudden, here we are 5 months later, and I'm labeled an extremist. I don't know it's because of that op-ed. I actually complimented him on what he was teaching in the class, which he had shared in his article. So anyway, I don't know where that misrepresentation is. Hostile emails to teachers. Again, I'm up here representing myself. I don't remember him, or excuse me, I don't remember myself ever writing an email to a teacher. So I don't know where that fits in. And so the other part that's in Dr. Bolton's letter is we want to make sure that all those involved, the students, can create their own meaning. So it's kind of what is the definition of is? What is their own meaning? Does that mean their meaning is they can create their own truth, and truth then becomes relative, and we get right into the diversity deal? I can create my own biology. So I don't know what that means, but there was that comment made in Dr. Bolton's letter. Instruction, Newport Beach. In there it says, excuse me, at Newport Harbor, that we're here to support inclusivity and diversity. Well, if we have an opinion that doesn't agree with them, where is the inclusivity and diversity of our opinion? No, we're called extremists. So anyway, I could go on, but thank you very much.
Next, I would like to call Kirby Piazza, please. And then we've got 1, 2.
Thank you to the board, Superintendent Smith, and especially all the parents and community members who are active and take pride in the Newport-Mesa School District. I'm here tonight speaking as a parent, teacher, and advocate for both present and future Newport-Mesa students. As a parent and teacher, I respectfully show my children and students multiple sides of social and political issues. I frame these issues in context and discuss questions that arise. We call it the Socratic method, and it stimulates critical thinking and helps to draw out ideas and reveal assumptions to the individual. It's a type of cooperative dialogue that defines a reasonable and intelligent democratic society. Now, what I've been seeing at our school board meetings scares me. We have been witnessing a small but organized group of extremists that don't want dialogue, reasoned debate, and intelligence. They only want their extreme and conspiratorial causes to prevail. They're using a proven method to create doubt, mistrust, and action from those not aware of their true plans. They are conspiracy without real theory, and they seed doubt without any real facts. They're dangerous people, and they are trying to organize and fund candidates with similar views to take over our district. Their most recent assaults on our community are the fanatical and extreme views that have long caused pain, suffering, and distress wherever they have taken hold. Children have been bullied, beaten, and killed by holders of these views. This is not some hypothetical threat that these viewers hold. They are real and present. Award-winning author Salman Rushdie is in a hospital in New York right now, having been stabbed multiple times because of these extreme views that were carried out to their logical conclusion. We must be wary, question everything they say, combat their lies and facts with logic. I'm happy to say that I trust in our elected officials and administrators here to stand strong against any form of censorship, race baiting, anti-LGBTQ+, and the stunting of our children's and students' minds. Please know that the overwhelming majority of the community supports you and the common sense decisions that you make to ensure our kids have the type of education a free and open society promises. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Grace H.
I had planned on saying something, but I'm not sure I can follow that. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not extreme. This is some of the silliest stuff I've ever heard in my life. I'm a mom to 3 kids. I did have kids in the school district up until this year in September, because we pulled our kids because there was a lot of issues that we've all spoken about. The absurdity of what some of these people are saying is just mind-blowing. Nobody sent any nasty emails to teachers. We love our teachers, especially at East Bluff. I absolutely adored all our teachers. This is, I honestly don't even know what to say. Let me go on record saying I don't know what to say about this nastiness. I was slandered in an email that went out to hundreds of teachers thanks to this Matt character I've never seen before. So my name was mentioned more than once. And I'm not sure why it was my name and not anybody else, but that's something I guess that will be discussed later. But anyway, it's just so absurd I can't even speak anymore. Thank you.
Next we have Henny Abraham.
Good evening. I apologize. I requested a translator, but none was available to my language. So I am going to speak in my native language first, and then I have the translation for you. I will translate for myself. اسم من هنگامه ابراهام هستش. چون شما فکر میکنین معنی طنزروی و افطاری رو بلدین، بذارین من به شما کمک کنم تا بهتر متوجه بشید. من در سن 12 سالگی روسری سرم گذاشتم و به خاطر اون میتونستم برم زندان. من هیچ چویسی نداشتم. Here comes my Finglish. هیچ چویسی نداشتم و باید سرم رو کاور میکردم. واقعا خجالت داره که شماهایی که هیچ کدومتون تجربه ای از زندگی در اجتماع سختی ندارین، از احساسات آدم ها سوء استفاده میکنین و مثل آدم هایی مثل من رو جلوی آدم های دیگه بد میکنین. آقای آرمسترانگ، شما واقعا با آدم هایی مثل من، بیل، وندی و گریس نگاه میکنید و فکر میکنید ماها ترسناک هستیم؟ اگه خیلی شما ارادت میکنید واسه فارسی زبان های نیوپورت بیچ ترنسلیتر داشته باشین. سیگنال فضیلت رو دیگه بس کنین. And that's the end of it. Good evening, board members. Thank you for everything that you do, Brandon Smith. My name is Hangam Abraham. Sorry, I haven't spoken Farsi to this length in a professional level in a very long time. I used to be a translator, so my Finglish comes and goes, so I do apologize. Since everybody thinks they're an expert in knowing what it means to come from an extremist background, let me give you a little snippet of what it means to come from an extremist background. I had no choice in a country that I was born and raised till the age of 14 to cover my head against my will since the age of 9. It didn't matter what I looked like. I had to. That's called extremist. I could have gone taken to jail after the age of 12, or my dad could have gone taken to jail if I chose not to wear cover against my will. That's called extremist. If you all look around at Bill, me, Grace, and Wendy, and you think we are dangerous and we need to be stopped, or that our mics should be cut off, I urge you to take my dual citizenship and live in Iran, where we do not even have mics to speak in a public forum. That's called an extremist. This is called a democracy. This is what this country is about. Even if you don't agree with what I say, you are gracious enough. I am gracious enough. I have met with at least 4 of you board members personally, and I have respected you personally. But to be called an extremist when I personally come from a country that we fled because being an extremist was the form of government is an absolute slap in the face. So please, as an English teacher, pick a better word. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next we have Haley Jenkins.
Hello, Superintendent Smith, President Bartow, and members of the board. Let me start out by saying that I've been in this back and forth with you all for 2 years, attending almost every board meeting and calling and emailing in-person meetings, submitting tons of PRAs, all over something little that I noticed on your agenda when it came to spending and the ADL curriculum. I started paying attention, and I continue this because you really have stepped on the gas pedal lately when it comes to bringing in very radical policies and spending my tax dollars, yes, on unnecessary garbage that in no way benefits the education of these children. For example, Why are our tax dollars paying for Carrie Torres to get her DEI certificate at Cornell University? Why did last year you spend $40,000 on DEI expert Teresa Neighbors? Why hire another assistant superintendent who was previously fired that's also a DEI expert? To me, I'm noticing a pattern and yes, an agenda. Yes, Matt Armstrong, Kirby Piazza, all of you can call me an extremist, but when I hear Socorro and Superintendent Smith discussing wanting to dismantle the system because it's not equitable or it's racist, we have a problem. Myself and others have spent hours upon hours researching the programs, books, and organizations you work with, as smart parents and taxpayers should. Basically what you all should be doing. When we come to you with our concerns, they are almost always shut down and ignored. When we share these with the community, some of you in this room get mad. You're mad that we're noticing. You're mad that we're taking action to simply inform others. Knowing you cannot defend these concerning programs and spending, you write worried, lengthy emails, have meetings, and call us all kinds of names. We're here to inform parents and help protect children because you will not. Please don't lie about this. Nobody is racist or anti-LGBTQ. Nobody wants to attack teachers. We really, truly love the teachers, and a lot of them are in it with us. We're highlighting what you voted for and presenting the books and curriculum you feel comfortable showing to children, and people are noticing, and that makes you uncomfortable. Personally, I have called Grant Thompson a groomer because if you're buying 9 books to give to a 3rd grader about, excuse my language, drinking cum, that is a groomer. I don't know what else to call it, so I guess that is extremist. I'm angry that I have to email and call and I go by the district and I cannot see the curriculum. Still, we ask for it weeks in advance and we still don't even have a reply for some of it. It should be transparent. I'm angry about the sex ed curriculum that has a little gingerbread man talking about multiple genders, little girls and boys that are now boys and girls with the word revolution in the background, saying that maybe the dinosaurs were transgender. I'm angry about history books that are not balanced.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Laurel Gregory.
Hello, everyone. Superintendent Smith and trustees. I appreciate this opportunity to speak. I don't really know how we got to this place where, sorry, this is difficult for me, where teachers and administrators and staff and board members are pitted against parents. What I do know is that it is crazy that the state or district or teacher would defend their right to teach my children what you feel is best when objections are raised. It's hurtful that parents are obstructed and shut out, have to request FOIAs, denied topics for agenda, and are labeled domestic terrorists, bullies, or racists, that you want to take our voices away. Yes, we pay our property taxes, and it's our children sitting in these classrooms that fund this district, without which there would be no board meeting or teachers' positions. Yet you defend your right to teach our children what you feel is best for them. I am not fringe. I'm not an extremist. I don't actually even believe that we're the minority. I think if parents aren't flooding your emails in your boardrooms with concerns about some of what's happening, then perhaps they're too busy trying to make ends meet or distracted or ill-informed, because so much of the content that we object to is hidden in some insidious ways. I propose a community forum with varied perspectives where we share and discuss materials that are in question openly and discuss critical race theory or ethnic studies and its origins. I'd like to hear why you think that isn't fighting racism with racism. Or social emotional learning, why is this form of clinical psychology practiced without a license in an uncontrolled, non-therapeutic space on groups of children with no mental disease? Or delve into this explicit sex ed and gender theory to express my concern that teaching sexuality or gender identity of any nature doesn't really belong in K through 6. I'd like to discuss opting in not opting out of sex ed in middle and high school after providing the parents with all of the materials that are presented, videos, speakers, textbooks, surveys. Present this sexually explicit material being taught. See if parents opt in. But regardless of whether we are a minority or a majority, our voices should matter. These are our children that are sitting in these seats. This is our community, and this is the money that we earn to put them in these schools. And if it doesn't bother you that so many of us are coming at you so hard and urging you to hear us, then maybe this isn't a position that should be for you if you're not bothered that parents are distraught over what is happening.
Thank you. Next, we have Carolyn McAuliffe.
Good evening, President Bartow, board members, cabinet, Dr. Smith, and everyone here tonight. I'm Carolyn McAuliffe, the proud parent of an NMUSD student, a volunteer for Moms Demand Action, PTA member, and a concerned member of the community. During the last board meeting, I was pleased to hear NMFT's President Sarah Otwater's comments with regard to her priorities this year, including assessing and improving school safety through preventative measures. And today I'd like to share some additional thoughts on this topic. Every morning I drop my son off at school, I hope and pray he, his classmates, and teachers will not be confronted with gun violence. While our district does have safety measures in place, there is more we can do to help our kids stay safe. It is estimated that 5.4 million children live in homes with both loaded and unlocked guns. In incidents of gunfire on school grounds, school shooters, 75% of these shooters obtain the guns from their homes or the homes of relatives. The threat of children getting access to firearms and bringing them to school right now is greater than ever. Access to unsecured guns also increases the risk of death by suicide by 3 times. One study showed that over 80% of children under the age of 18 who died by gun suicide used a gun belonging to a parent or relative. We can all agree these statistics are daunting, but there are simple actions that we can take right now to help prevent some of these tragic consequences. The Be Smart program was developed to help normalize conversations between parents and adults about gun safety and to take responsible actions that can prevent child gun deaths and injuries. Although safe and secure storage is already a California law, additional community awareness is needed. With that, I urge the board to pass a resolution for our district to distribute a letter with information and resources on gun safety and the safe storage of firearms to parents and guardians. In fact, a bill has been signed into legislation, AB 452, which will require this. However, this will not go into effect, or it does not have to go into effect until July of 2023. What I'm doing tonight is urging you to do this quicker. Let's expedite this. That's 10 months from now. If we can even save one life, let's make that happen. There are at least 27 school districts in California that send home information about secure storage every year, including LAUSD and San Diego USD, which are the 2 largest school districts in California, as well as the Fullerton School District.
Thank you.
Thank you for your consideration.
Next, we have Olga Para.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Mr. Smith, for your visit to our center. I'm Olga Parra, Executive Director from Wilson Street Learning Center. So thank you also, Ashley, for your support, volunteer, and being with us through pandemic. Thank you, Michelle, for also your support through pandemic. Thank you so much to all of you. Today, I'm here with some of the parents. We serve around 12 schools around our area, and we have right here parents from Whittier, Ray, Pomona, Back Bay, and Adams schools. So they are here with me, and the first topic that we picked for this school year is bullying. We are very interested in knowing what kind of prevention policies you will have this year, what are going to be the consequences for that, and what is going to be the support after the fact. Unfortunately, in my 12 years there, I have seen so many critical cases where our kids come with broken spirits and sometimes even physical harm. So to the point that I have seen that for 5th, 6th grade, and what's happening? What are we doing about it? This year, I'm very concerned about that. I have always been concerned, but I'm gonna just push to see how could we prevent that? How could we face that problem? Who is in charge of observing? Who's in charge of applying, enforcing rules? What are we gonna do about it? I had a case where the girl was bullied 4th, 5th to 6th grade. She was cutting herself. She was pinching her face. And on. My heart breaks when I see this. I just need to know what are we gonna do about this, because there is depression, anxiety, and all of these problems caused by bullying. And yeah, I can come and just talk about academics and success, and we want that. Parents want that, I want that. And that's why we have the Learning Center. But they're not gonna be successful if they come from that kind of environment. We want our kids to be safe, to be embraced. So that way they can be successful. Thank you so much for all your work.
Thank you. Next, we have Mike Rothmeyer.
Good evening to the board. Dr. Smith, I attended your entree meeting at Harbor High School when you first came in, and I was very impressed. Ms. Bardo and the rest of the board, thank you very much. I'd like to address the shortage of staff members briefly by way of short background. I have an engineering degree from Cal Poly Pomona, 30 years in engineering as a licensed engineer. After my 30 years, I caught a case of Eric Erickson's generativity, if you will, and decided to get a master's in education. Got a teaching certificate specializing in curriculum development, accommodations, and modifications. I'm currently a Raptor certified volunteer in 2 of your high schools, have 2 letters of recommendations from your teachers. I completed my application package for substitute teaching and have heard nothing back in 6 months. I understand you're in need of substitutes, especially in technology and science. I thought you'd like to know that there are personnel out there that are looking for an opportunity to help the school district. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Next, we have Allison G.
Good evening, Superintendent Smith, the trustees, President Bardo. So I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. So we all remember when parents all throughout the state put their shoes in front of the district halls to represent the children that would be pulled out of the various districts due to unlawful mandates. So fast forward, it was a, I don't know, meeting or two, and Mr. Trader did his interim financial review, and as a recovering accountant, I very much appreciate all your presentations and your wit, because numbers are dry. and during that, Trustee Yelsey asked for Mr. Trader to clarify some confusion in the room on how we're funded. And it was very clear that at that point that we are actually not funded by average daily attendance. We're funded 75% based on the website, based on property taxes. And so last year, the student cost to educate was $23,367 per student, with an attendance of 17,962 students. The first day enrollment this year was down 317 students. So multiply that out, that's 7.4 million. So I actually came here tonight for some clarification, like what happens with that? Are the taxpayers proportionately refunded? money? Does that stay within the school system and is absorbed? So now we have less students with more money, so the price per student goes up. But then I realized right before I was walking out the door to come here, buried way down, so I got some commingling things, buried way down 21B and 21C, we have, we're voting tonight on raises of $3.6 million for executive management, superintendents, and all the assistant superintendents, or the superintendent and the assistant superintendents. So on one side, we're down students that would equate to 7.4 million, but tonight we're going to approve 3.6 million in raises. So just help me with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ruth Kobayashi.
Good evening. I'm Ruth Sanchez Kobayashi, a resident of Newport Beach and the mother of 2 graduates of Corona Del Mar High School. My background offers some context for the comments I'm about to make, so I'll make a couple of comments about me. I'm a conservative who has and will vote Republican in every election, without exception. I'm a Christian who has served on the school board of a leading Christian school in our area and who has stood hand in hand against anti-Semitism in our community. You may know me for advocating for available parking near our high school, lighting for athletic fields, and the naming of an athletic facility after a beloved Coach Sumner. Today, I'm here to encourage and improve and to reject an ideology of destruction. Parents like me believe in quality education focused on literacy, math, science, and history that teaches children critical thinking skills with curriculum that is right for their age and meets the needs of all types of learners, from struggling to the highest achievers. I'm also a believer in evaluation, reflection, and continuous improvement. What I'm not a believer in is dismantling. I rejected it, along with most rational people, when it was targeting our police departments. And I'm rejecting it now when it targets our neighborhood schools and this school district. It is alarming that some in our community, rather than working with our district to enhance and improve, are calling for the dismantling of our district. I've not worked for a perfect corporation, attended a perfect church, had a perfect best friend, or walked the halls of a perfect school. What I have done is volunteered for a zillion projects, respectfully influenced leaders when the opportunities presented themselves, and done everything possible to lift up and encourage those leaders. What I have found is that when parents conduct themselves in this way, leaders listen, they care, and often they make changes. My encouragement to you as leaders is to consider new and enhanced opportunities for parental input, including updating the Superintendent's Parent Advisory Council, which I have served on, for parents to provide valuable input to the superintendent on key programs in our schools. My encouragement to our community is to be confident in our schools, to pay attention to our leaders, to ask questions, to challenge, but to also consider the motives of those who seek to dismantle our district and what they can do to our district with a stellar reputation that provides an outstanding education for our kids and prepares them for college and career, just ask our students. The danger of the tear it down ideology is real and to be rejected. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we move to no additional comments. We move to superintendent's comments.
We've addressed this at the dais before, so no clarifications. We've already clarified on our curriculum. We've done that multiple times. As far as clarifications on communications we did not make from the district office, myself or the board, I can't comment on that either. certainly people have attested to the fact that there is some agenda to dismantle, to divide and destroy, to rebuild, or for whatever purpose. I can just say that that has not been my focus for 11 months, and those of you that have been in the community paying attention to what we've been doing at our schools and our meetings, we talk about working together, that only together can we do the most difficult work, and that's meeting the needs of 17,000 students. That's been my message. It was the message in our Welcome Back video. I said just that same thing. We have said before, we'll say again, we will not teach CRT in this district. Can't say it enough. People were using letters tonight and accusing me of saying things since I've been here that I haven't said, referring to another conversation taken out of context in another time. Here, we've been talking about doing the work together. And when we take apart DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, diversity is a fact. It's a fact. I hear science all the time in these meetings. There's diversity in this district, all kinds of diversity. And every single one of those students, without exception, deserves the best from us. So we're not going to shy away from saying there is diversity. Equity is a word that becomes weaponized all over the state. We've talked about this here. Equity for this district is meeting the needs of every student, where they have needs, when they have needs, right? That's how we talk about it. That's our goal. That's what this board stands behind, meeting and exceeding the needs of every single student in this district. We had a student tonight talk about inclusion at CDM. So students are working on being more inclusive. And why wouldn't we? If doing this work requires all of us to work together, all of us, then we have to be more inclusive. That's not a political agenda. That's a fact. But I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic for lots of reasons. Again, 11 months, tons of reasons for optimism. I got 17,000 that I can think of first. And that's our inspiring students. They do amazing things. They impress me all the time. You get into our classrooms and you see why our teachers, our classified staff, our support staff work as hard as they do, because these kids are inspirational. We have a board that has a focus of every student every day. That's powerful, and they govern accordingly. We have educators that lean into high expectations for every student. Our teachers, our support staff, they're not shying away from this work, and they're not saying we're only going to help some students. We're going to help them all, right? Because that's what they're committed to doing. And we have community members that lean in and say, we're going to do this. What do you need? I'm at Anderson Dean's, and they say, Weston, how can we help other people? We know how to help our kids. How can we help others, right? Olga mentioned it tonight about the way that communities can help support the work that we're doing. We have a community just like that. I think about community too, and I can't help but mention this, our law enforcement. I prioritize communication and working with our law enforcement, communicate with the chiefs regularly. You can ask them, I wouldn't speak for them, but I know what they've said about our relationship since I've gotten here. But the facts are important. And we've invested in more SROs in this district since I got here, because we know that our students need to be in safe learning environments, and we value that relationship we have. So thank you for being here tonight and for doing all the work that you do. We are the Newport-Mesa Unified School District, and we can have public debates, that's fine. But one thing we can't debate is that if we're divided, we're not going to meet the needs of all students. Only together, unified and united, will we do that. And we'll work with any interest, any party that really wants to do that, to work towards benefiting our students. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you. All right, we move to community input on agendized items.
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items on the regular meeting agenda. Comments on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per comment, up to 20 minutes per topic. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another person. Speaker cards for items on the discussion action calendar may be held until that item is considered by the board, if the speaker prefers.
Okay. We have one comment, Paul Ruver, I believe. And if you'd like to speak now, your item is on the consent, or you may speak before the consent. Thank you.
Hoover.
Oh, Poover. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent Smith, President Bartow, board, staff, thank you very much for having us. I'm with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Orange County Inland Empire. I'm Director of Education and Career Development, and maybe getting ahead of myself a little bit, but I just wanted to say thank you all for your support, your continued support for our programs. It's a high school bigs program where we match high school students. Some of the high schools here today. Is anybody that big at our high school bigs program? No? We want to get you there. Oh, we're gonna make you aware.
Not yet.
But our high school bigs program is an opportunity for high school students to mentor elementary students at the elementary students. And this year, our goal is to mentor 60 elementary students with 60 high school students, meeting weekly throughout the year. We are promoting SEL, we're promoting DEI, we're promoting relationship building, leadership skills. All of these things that, as Superintendent Smith said, are extremely important to not only this district, these students, but districts everywhere. So really just want to say thank you for this opportunity to serve these students. We look forward to this year, getting going on this year, and we look forward to a continued relationship with Newport-Mesa School District. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We move on to item 18A, report on summer programs with Lori Hernandez and Dr. Mike Shaka.
Yeah, and if I can ask Dr. Shaka and Dr. Hernandez to head on up, they're going to give us a report this evening on our summer programs. One of the tasks you've kind of put in front of us is to expand the learning opportunities for all of our students. Summer programs is one of those expanded opportunities that we've really delved into. Along those lines, we've asked Dr. Hernandez and Dr. Shaka to share some of the highlights and details of this past summer's programs. A couple things to note, and you've heard me say it before, and I'm sure you're going to hear these two say it. These programs touch not only thousands of our students, but we're only able to do them with the support of every single one of our divisions, from transportation to food services to human resources to facilities, maintenance operations. We continue to run a very small district compared to all of our kids, but throughout the summer. It's not just a school here or there, but it's really the size of many districts in California that we run our summer programs through. So we've asked Dr. Shaka and Hernandez to share some of the highlights from this summer.
Thank you. Good evening, President Bartow, members of the board, Dr. Smith, executive cabinet, staff, and guests. Before I get into the details of our elementary summer program, I would like to take the opportunity to thank and recognize Dr. Hogard, principal of Ray Elementary. She planned and executed the elementary summer programs for 2021 and 2022. So all the incredible details I'm going to share with you tonight are the result of her vision, her hard work, and her dedication to our students. The elementary program for 2022 was designed based on input and lessons learned from summer 2021, in addition to information we gathered throughout the school year. At the end of the summer school 2021, Dr. Hogard conducted parent, student, and staff surveys about the summer program experience. Then in January, we began planning for summer 2022. We had teacher and principal surveys. Some key findings from all of these surveys included the need for extra support with social skills, the value of student participation in enrichment activities, and the desire for a well-rounded opportunity with a mix of academics and enrichment. We also took parent input through the spring LCAP process, and we used state guidance for the Extended Learning Opportunities Program grant, which requires us to offer a full-day experience for students. This was one of the biggest changes we made from the prior year. We had to offer a 9-hour day as part of ELOP. So another requirement is also that we offer the program to at least 50% of our unduplicated students, which is a category that includes students who are English learners, foster youth, and students from low-income families. We satisfied this requirement because we opened our program to all Newport-Mesa students who wanted to participate. So our elementary program design, we had 6 sites where we hosted the program, and those were Killybrook, Wilson, Newport Coast, Ray, Sonora, and Kaiser. And Kaiser was unique because we co-located with our extended school year special education program, and we collaborated with them to make sure it was really one program. And many of our ESY students were also able to benefit from the enrichment in the afternoon. The program was open to all Newport-Mesa students, as I mentioned, with additional recruitment efforts at Title I schools through our school community facilitators. We made a lot of calls and made some extra effort at some of our sites. The AM program had 2 sessions for each student, a 90-minute academic block and a 90-minute enrichment block. Enrichment offerings in the morning were assigned, but students experienced 2 different enrichment options. So for example, a student might have had 2 weeks of brainstorm STEM, followed by 2 weeks of an art class. Students who stayed in the afternoon had a choice. They selected either arts, STEM, or sports camp, and they stayed in that one activity throughout the 20 days. One of our most successful enrichment activities was a theater program through the Arts and Learning Conservatory, which culminated with musical theater shows at all 6 of our sites, which many of you had the opportunity to see. We offered options for parents to pick up either at the half-day point, at 2:30, or at the end of the day. And this design was intended so that kids wouldn't be pulled out and interrupted in the middle of an art lesson or painting or a STEM project. And our program hired a mix of Newport-Mesa staff and community partners. So we had many of our own teachers, office staff, instructional assistants, and elementary specialists. And then we supplemented our own staffing with groups like Brainstorm STEM, Strategic Kids, FIBO Art, Arts and Learning Conservatory, and others. And recruitment began at the spring parent-teacher conferences. So here are some quick statistics about our program. We had 1,707 students that attended at least half of the program. So they attended 10 days or more. And most parents opted for the full day option. They wanted to leave their kids all day. At the end of the experience, parents took a survey, and 89% of parents rated the experience a 4 or a 5 out of 5. And we are very proud of those numbers. And the parents really appreciated the program. A goal of our program was to provide time for students to socialize and collaborate with each other. And so we were also happy to see that 82% of our students reported that they made 3 or more new friends at summer school. So that's a success for us in elementary. 90 minutes a day focused on academics taught by our own Newport-Mesa teachers. We had daily journal writing, a daily math lesson, a daily reading lesson. We had literature books with discussion and text-based writing. And writing was the area we measured, and we did see growth in students' quantity and quality of writing. So teachers were measuring their growth. And we saw a lot of improvement in confidence in writing with the daily journals. Reading lessons and math lessons were driven by grade level standards and were developed by teams of Newport-Mesa teachers. And then in the enrichment side, we also had big success. Students, parents, and teachers all commented that those experiences were valuable for students. Parents were asked what students came home and talked about at the end of the day for summer school, and 86% of parents reported students came home and shared about their enrichment opportunities. So we know that's the part of the day students really liked. Students also commented on their surveys. Almost every student made some kind of positive comment about their enrichment, their art, their science, all those experiences they had. So in thinking about the program we offered students, we had successes to reflect on, and then also areas that we're considering as we plan for 2023. So we wanted to provide our staff and contracted partners with additional training for students. That's one area we want to think about how we can do that for 2023. We also want to consider different dismissal options. Well, it made sense on our end to offer the half-day, 2:30, and end-of-day dismissal. We had a number of parents that commented that they wanted a little bit more flexibility in being able to basically pick up their child at any time. So we need to think about how we can manage that. We're also thinking about what will be the best balance of academics and enrichment moving forward. So coming out of the pandemic, we had a strong focus and need for social skills, peer collaboration, and enrichment opportunities. And so our team is discussing what the best balance is moving forward. Also, ELOP requires us to offer 30 days outside of the school year, and we only offered 20 this last summer. which means we need 10 more days before the end of June 2023. So we will be starting summer school, we know this year, a little bit earlier to satisfy those 10 days in June. So those are just some of the things we've started discussing as we're thinking about summer 2023. And now I will pass the presentation to Dr. Shaka to tell you about secondary.
Thank you, Lori. President Bartow, members of the board, Dr. Smith, Executive Cabinet, and all of our guests today, thank you for giving us a little bit of time to talk about summer school. I have to start off by giving a very genuine and authentic thank you to all of the people involved in summer school. It was a big process, like John mentioned. We had transportation, we had office managers, we had nurses, we had school campus safety supervisors, our admin interns, and certainly our amazing teachers, all partnering with our parents and students for this experience. So the design of secondary is a little bit different. And the first thing that we looked at secondary was we wanted to significantly expand and improve the experience from years past. And I think that we did just that. So when designing the program, the first thing we did was we talked to students. What do they want and what do they need? We looked at data, grades, credits, student interests. Little fun fact, driver's ed was offered this summer, which was a direct interest of our students to offer over summer school. We also built upon the work that our admin interns did this previous school year. Each one of our 4 middle schools and 4 comprehensive high schools had an admin intern last year, and their job was to really focus on learning recovery. They did some tremendous work throughout last school year and was able to mitigate quite a bit of learning that we focused on last year. We used that data, we built upon it, and we used that to assess the needs for summer school. And that's what ultimately led to our program design of summer school for secondary. One of the biggest changes was we offered summer school at all 8 sites. Previous to last year, summer school was generally offered at 1 site. A year ago, and now building upon it this year, we offered it at 8 different sites, which did a tremendous job at connecting students to their community, making it close by, more convenient, really overcame a lot of the challenges we'd faced in the past. Program options. Middle school, we offered a 7th grade bridge and an 8th grade bridge, which I'm going to go over in just a second on the next slide. In high school, we also offered a 9th grade bridge. We had traditional credit recovery classes where the kids would come to school. Algebra 1, for example, they would sit in the class, be instructed by the teacher, and learn Algebra 1. We also had Edgenuity credit recovery options where they would do self-paced, Edgenuity-based credit recovery, both in-seat and remote. We had in-seat initial credit offerings that we've expanded from previous years, so kids who chose to in certain classes could earn initial credit and get further ahead in the next school year. And then we had online classes. We had online government, economics, health, and again, driver's ed, which was a fan favorite. So our 7th, 8th, and 9th grade bridge, I want to spend a moment talking about the experience because this was new, and I think this was one of our biggest successes. Generally, what happened was a student's day was broken up into 3 blocks: an ELA literacy writing block, a math block, and an enrichment block. We partnered with some of our elective teachers in Newport-Mesa as well as ROP to offer a variety of elective options or enrichment options. Kids were able to learn medical, they did culinary, they did robotics, and it was a fantastic way to break up the day, learning academics as well as providing a pretty cool enrichment opportunity. In addition, these were incoming 7th, incoming 8th, and incoming 9th. So think about this just for a minute. All of our exiting 6th graders now have a head start coming to their middle school campus, connecting with the campus, connecting with the teachers, so day 1 is a far less intimidating, far less scary experience for all of those students. Our 9th graders were able to attend the 9th grade bridge and earn 5 credits. So they stepped on campus day 1 in high school ahead. Many of these students were traditionally used to being behind, and all of a sudden the script was flipped, and now they're ahead, full of confidence, starting their high school career. Another big win for our program. So let's look at some numbers. 1,450 secondary students participated. This is almost 3 times as many as we've had in years past. So this is big impact for our students. 3615 credits recovered. So 3,615 credits were recovered in summer school this past summer. In addition, 920 initial credits were earned. Again, so students were ahead. These students, if we had not offered the summer school program, would have been taking either intervention classes or taking their traditional classes during the school year. But instead, they were able to make space for more classes, more electives, staying in their grade level classes with their peers, a huge advantage for these students. So again, the impact was beyond just earning credits. So how'd we do? So I want you to think about this for a second. You have a high school student sitting in a classroom in summer taking a survey about how much they appreciate the experience. And 93% of them rated a 3, 4, or 5. We consider that a big win in secondary. In addition, 90% of our parents rated it a 3+, and 95% of our teachers, again, who did a tremendous job, rated their experience a 3 or higher. And we consider that really impressive. I looked at some of these quotes, and something that jumped out at me with these student quotes and parent quotes, the teacher has done a great job re-inspiring. Inspiring is not a traditional word for summer school, yet there it is. One of our students mentions the enrichment. They're building rockets, roller coasters, cars. Again, a powerful connection to that school that they can build upon in the traditional school year. And then finally, one of our seniors that was able to reflect a little bit on some of the choices they made and how they can learn and grow and improve moving forward. So we thought some of those quotes were nice to share. And then reflecting, celebrating successes, but also not staying stagnant and continuing to reflect on where we can improve and continue to grow. We love the fact that we offered it at 8 sites. We really appreciated that and saw a lot of benefit. We created high quality bridge materials, a balance of ELA, math, and enrichment. So it wasn't just the students there, it was the students there with high quality curriculum and really learning those core skills of writing, mathematics, and enrichment. We offered both remediation credits and initial credits, which again, that option, so it's not just focused on one or the other, it spoke to more student need. And then we significantly increased the number of students served. That's always a good thing, we believe. And then considerations, again, things we want to improve on moving forward. We want to continue to explore more initial credit options. We think that we got some traction there. We really wanted to explore where those opportunities will continue to be as we move forward. We want to consider adjustments to the start and end dates of the school. There was feedback related to higher teacher recruitment, possibly more student retention if we re-examine some of those start and stop dates. So it's something we want to consider as we move forward. And then continue to develop indicators of success. We have credits, we have grades, we have student surveys, but we really want to continue to drill into student learning and be able to do a really good job at being able to assess how much our students learned in the summer experience so we can build on that moving forward. And that said, thank you all so much for your time. If there are any questions, we are happy to answer them.
I'm going to let our student board rep go first, Trustee Matoye, and then you're next.
Absolutely, I didn't see.
Go ahead, Kate.
Mine's really quick. It's just students have asked me, are you able to get art credits on during the summer? Is that possible?
Great question, Kate. This summer we didn't have initial art credit offerings, although that's one of the things that we also heard in our feedback that we'll be considering as we move forward. But that was not an option this past summer for initial credit.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Trustee Matoye.
I'm so proud of this program. The fact that it's grown from last year to this year. Last year it was a program that we needed to do to stop the bleeding. This year, what we saw was the healing that was taking place. And the fact that we didn't just sit back and I love it. It's the royal we. It's you guys that are doing this, but we didn't sit back on our heels and go, wow, we did a great program. Let's do it again next year. You're saying, we did do a great program. It was great. What can we do to make it better? How can we get more kids to include it? Now, as a parent, 9 hours of summer with my kids being somewhere else and being happy with air conditioning, that would have been fabulous alone. But you're offering the opportunities to get ahead. And they're doing that in elementary and secondary, because in elementary, when you're getting your education over the summer, that gap of forgetfulness is way narrowed down. And in high school, if you can get ahead of something, and maybe you don't have to take 0 period the next year so that you really can take advantage of that 8:30 start, that would be huge. I can't thank you enough for all the work that you've done and the work that you're going to do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Anderson.
Thank you. Thank you. This is very exciting. As you know, I love our summer programs and that we're doing them, and hopefully we can continue doing them for years to come. One idea for also adding more days is during our vacation breaks or intersession. We often hear from parents that that is a huge need. So if you need a few more days, we can maybe go 10 on the plus side. That's something that I hear from lots of parents. I also want to thank you for 2 big parts of this. One, for listening and asking for student feedback, and secondly, for listening and inquiring about parent feedback and what they needed and wanted. I think this is one of our better efforts at doing that, and even including things like art and continually making things better. And the other is having our successes and considerations. I am a firm believer in continuous improvement, and in the past we didn't always get that, and so I love this. I love that people are thinking ahead of how we can make things better, so thank you.
And I'd just like to add that one of the questions I get the most is what our district is doing to address learning loss. And it's really wonderful to be able to respond with a practical, tangible thing that we've already done, that we've already started. And I love these facts, and I love the quotes. The roller coasters for middle schoolers is great because I think a lot of our elementary students participated in our STEM and engineering camps before, and then it got to middle school and we kind of left that piece out. So it's great that we're including that all the way through. Thank you so much. And got more comments. Trustee Ursoilu and Trustee Crane.
I just had a thank you, like everybody said, for the great presentation. Just a logistic question, just in light of what some of the student board members said about the later start time for secondary. Is the next summer going to be aligned with starting at like the 8:30 during the school year time, or does it not have to align legally? I just don't know.
Again, a great question. I was hoping to not think about summer school for like a week and then, then re-engage. We haven't decided the schedule yet, so that's a good question that we'll be considering as we plan.
Trustee Crane, then Trustee Wigand, and then student board member.
Okay, again, amazing, thank you. We had the pleasure of going to visit the classes and also attending the performances, and it was amazing to see the kids so engaged and the staff so caring. Just the logistics alone, from transportation, nutrition services, as you both mentioned, it was all the departments collaborating for an amazing output. I also wanted to add the fact that there's an economic factor to this because a lot of parents can't afford to put their kids at camps in the summertime. And I remember talking to one parent, and she became teary-eyed, basically saying, I can't afford summer camp. I can't, $500 a week for this one and the other one. And this was a great service. Not only were their kids safe at school, learning, being with friends and all that, it was a necessity, a basic need that was being met, and I thought that is amazing. I'm using amazing a lot, but it's just because it's true. Thank you.
Trustee Wigand, and then Kate Cherry.
Yeah, I want to thank you for building upon what we did last year and then adding on to it, and it was great this year. I loved seeing the plays. It was great when there was the kids are just hilarious, and it really brightened my day, I have to say. On the theme of continuous improvement, I know you said for the secondary we're going to evaluate to see how well our students do from the summer school and if it helped them in school. Are we going to do the same for elementary school where we can say, hey, the student was here, maybe below grade level, but they did summer school and they're now at grade level? Are we going to do some kind of assessments in that way just to fine tune everything for the next year?
We are working on coding the students a certain way if they attended our summer, so we can see if there are any correlations. But as far as like directly, a big part of our program was on those soft skills, collaboration, and making friends and communication and writing and those kind of things. And so we didn't have any like direct measures, but we will be able to look at trends with the kids that attended summer.
Okay, good. Yeah, not all academics at all, but I thank you for that. Yeah, those plays were just great and hilarious. And some of our schools are actually going to hire on some of their our vendors to do other things on their schools. So it was
I
great.
think some stars were born. Seriously. Some of these kids were like, that was their thing for sure.
Student Board Member Kate Cherry.
This is just a clarification question. Do you guys have like, is there a secondary like online program with it, or is, because I took health online, but I don't know if this was connected through this or if it was nothing. I'm just curious.
Yeah, health was one of the options for the summer. If you took it over the summer, it could have been this program in the past. It probably was. But it expanded outside of just health. So yes, we had health, government, economics, and driver's ed that was an online, more asynchronous experience option.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Anderson.
Thank you. I just had an idea based on what Trustee Wiegand said. Since we are now doing preschool to third grade as more of a continuum, would it be possible to maybe use like early developmental index questions about social interactions? So then we would have also kind of more common language and longitudinal analysis of, okay, this child has really improved over the summer, this child's really improved over 3 years. So it would all correlate.
That's something we could look into.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. All right, with that, we move on to item 19, consent calendar. If there's any board comment on personnel commission recommendation, item 19C1, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll move to adopt. It just, my script literally says if there's any board comment to ask. So do you have comment? Okay, thank you.
That was a new one.
Oh, okay.
Yes, first I want to say thank you for taking the time to adjust and add back in Lexia and also ST Math for our school sites. I know we have a lot of extra money currently for the next few years, and so I really appreciate the extra licenses that we're able to get for all students. And then I do just have a concern that I saw today so I apologize for not bringing it up before, but when I saw the care for 19D10, the Care Solace contract prior to this one was only $30,000, and I just noticed that it's doubled and it's $61,000, and so I think they were using it less than during the pandemic, yet we're paying twice as much. So I was just wondering what happened there.
Are you, okay. I don't mean to put you on the spot, and if you need us to come back to that, we can do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll move to adopt the consent calendar, and we can do 19D1 separately if you'd like answer on that.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, there's some other MOUs attached to that one. Can we just take that one MOU and then, okay.
Would someone like to make that motion?
I'd like to make a motion on 19D 10 to just pull the Care Solace MOU and evaluate that for discussion.
Second.
Move to discussion action.
Move to
I
discussion.
move to discussion action. There a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, so then may I have a roll call vote on that?
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Wiegand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
All right, so with that, I may have a motion to adopt the consent calendar with the exception of 19D10 Care Solace contract.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Trustee Matoye. It's been seconded by Trustee Crane. Roll call vote?
Trustee Barto?
Yes?
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Wiegand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
So then we will move to discussion action. We will go first, we'll go first to public hearing action calendar, and then we will get to the Care Solace item with 21 discussion action calendar. So moving on to 20 public hearing action calendar, we have 20A, public hearing disclosing the provisions of 2022-23 through 2024-25 tentative collective bargaining agreement with the California School Employees Association, Newport-Mesa, chapter number 18. Mr. Trader, do you have any comments?
It's recommended the board hold a public hearing to disclose the collective bargaining agreement. The cost for the 22-23 year is $3,950,681, and for the 23-24 year, $2,331,839. These amounts have been budgeted and therefore affordable.
Thank you. The hearing is now open at 7:43 p.m. Are there any public comments? Okay. Seeing none, the hearing is now closed at 7:43 p.m. We move to item 20B, approve tentative agreement and MOU between the Newport-Mesa Unified School District and California School Employees Association and its Newport-Mesa chapter number 18, concluding the 2022-2023 and 2023-2024 negotiations. Ms. Olson?
Thank you very much. We're very pleased to bring to the board tonight the tentative agreement for a 2-year agreement, but I think at first I really need to recognize the teams. For CSEA, we had Pam Saunders, our president, and we are going to miss you greatly. And Stu Tedford, Gary Logan, Sean Katz, Troy Hall, and Amy Gonzalez, the CSEA senior labor rep as their lead negotiator. And representing the district was Sarah Jocham, Lance Bidnick, Becky Goebel, Shoshana Nakano, and Kristen Clark served as a resource to both teams. And I recognize them because negotiations is not an easy process. And it's important to acknowledge the commitment from both teams to really engage in some difficult conversations from different perspectives surrounding issues that are important to provide a wonderful environment for our students and make sure that our employees are taken care of and the organization is as well. And so we have reached this agreement that does support our employees. It also is important, we hear about employment shortages or difficulty hiring, that the district remain competitive amongst our competitors. And this agreement does that as well. So some highlights that I would draw your attention to is the health and welfare benefits. So we are now we shared the costs a little bit more with employees with a small increase to the monthly contribution. And I think that's important to acknowledge because that too is a collaborative conversation that happened with our joint benefit team and that made up of negotiating both all units, NMFT, CSEA, and management, and again, engaging in those conversations and being open to those really emotional conversations. And so we are able to do that. So it distributes more equitably the costs of our health and welfare benefits, yet still offers a very reasonably low-cost option for employees. We also have some, you'll notice, language updates, clarifying some work days as well as transportation. And attached to this TA is an MOU that assists with our after-hour emergencies and creates a team to do that. This is wonderful and benefits the organization. It also provides employees an opportunity to develop some leadership skills and demonstrate those skills. So it's a promotion. It could help them perhaps in their promotion desires as well. So with that, I ask the board to approve the TA for a 2-year agreement with CSEA Chapter 18, concluding the negotiations for 2022-23 and 23-24. Okay.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Wigand?
Trustee Wigand.
Okay. All right, it's been moved by Trustee Matoye, seconded by Trustee Wigand. Roll call vote.
Trustee Barto?
Yes?
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson? Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Wigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Thank you. Now we move to item 20C, public hearing disclosing the provisions of the 2022-23 through 2023-24 tentative collective bargaining agreement with the Newport-Mesa Federation of Teachers. Mr. Trader.
It's recommended the board hold a public hearing disclosing the cost of the tentative agreement with the Newport-Mesa Federation of Teachers. The 22-23 cost is $14,027,272. The 23-24 cost is $7,891,000. $7,891,247, of which all is budgeted and therefore affordable.
Thank you. All right, the hearing is now open at 7:48 PM. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, the hearing is now closed at 7:48 PM. Item 20D, approve tentative agreement and MOU between the Newport-Mesa Unified School District and the Newport-Mesa Federation of Teachers, concluding the 2022-2023 and 2023-2024 negotiations. Ms. Olson.
Thank you again. So yes, I want to start by thanking our teams. Again, courageous conversations happen around the table, and the dialogue is significant, and the teams work extremely well together in having those honest conversations to reach these agreements. What I would point out again is the health and welfare benefits, and again, that is an emotional conversation for all parties involved, but we were able to reach agreement. We also were able to address some obsolete language within the contract. I'd also highlight for you that in the agreement, you will have noticed that we now have evaluation forms for our service providers. So that is our SLPs, speech language pathologists, our psychologists, our social workers, our counselors, our nurses, and our librarians. And in the past, we've had to adapt a teacher evaluation tool to those professions, which was really, really difficult. So that is, we piloted it and we've agreed on that. There's also an MOU for this coming year and the following year to address teacher evaluation forms. So continuing to move that on continuous improvement. Another highlight is that we have calendars adopted for 2023-24 and 24-25, so people can plan ahead, which is fantastic. I thank the calendar committee for their recommendations. And then there's plenty of clarification throughout the contract that we also addressed. And again, that's because of the hard work and the respectful conversations that we had with the team. So the NMFT team, it's Sarah Otwater, who is our president, sitting here tonight, Jamie Ropp, Rhonda Reed, Laura Mayberry, Sandy's here with us tonight, Sandy Gordon, Kathy Adamak, and their lead negotiator is Nicholas Dix, who is their executive director. And then the district representatives, Kirk Bauermeister and Megan Brown, who's with us tonight, Amanda Estrada, Kurt Sir, Mike Shaka, who you just saw, and then we have counsel of Spencer Covert. So again, I ask the board to please approve the tentative agreement that would conclude the negotiations for 22-23 and 23-24 with our labor partners, NMFT.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Crane, seconded by Trustee Anderson. Roll call vote.
Trustee Barto?
Yes?
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
All right, so we will move on to 21, discussion action calendar.
President Barto, would you prefer to go back to the consent, or do you want to wait till you're done?
So we moved it to discussion action, so we'll make it 21H.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, so 21A, approved meeting date change from
That's all right.
October 4th to October 11th. I think we have an amendment there. Trustee Matoye.
Yes. We realized that moving it out, that would be a big conflict. First of all, it's a conflict with our State of the Schools morning luncheon, but it definitely needs to be changed due to observance of the Yom Kippur holiday, which starts at sundown. So I would like to change that to October 3rd. It's a Monday. I know Monday is like, oh my gosh, you can't have it. Yes, we can. We can have a board meeting on a Monday. But if we move it to October 3rd, it doesn't affect, the whole board can be there, and it doesn't affect any religious holidays that we done.
Trustee Weigand.
I'm seconding that. That sounds like a good idea.
Okay, well, we haven't made a motion yet. We were just having a
We're
discussion.
just doing an explanation.
I guess I'm just supporting her.
Oh, good, thank you then.
And Superintendent Smith had some comments.
I was going to introduce quickly the item and take the blame for it. I just want to be clear to the public that when staff looked at the calendar, we referred to the interfaith calendar, as we always do every year, and it had it on the 5th, not the 4th. And then someone brought to our attention that the interfaith calendar was wrong. But that was our fault, not the board's fault. I just wanted to make that clear to the public.
Thank you. All right, so may I have a motion to approve meeting date change from October 4th, 2022 to October 3rd, 2022?
So moved.
Second. We can tag team this.
It's been moved by trustee Wygant, seconded by trustee Metoyer. Roll call vote.
Student Board Member Kate Cherry,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Matoye,
Yes.
Trustee Crane,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson,
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou,
Yes.
Trustee Wygant,
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey.
Yes.
Trustee Metoyer had a comment?
Okay, we just all voted, right? I just want to let the student board members know, I'll get back to you on how we have to shift and when we'll, in theory, it would be the Friday before. We're not going to do it on Friday, so I'm going to just ask you to let me know if Thursday is a good day for us to have our prep meeting rather than, we don't want to do it on a football night. That's crazy.
Thank
Right?
you.
Yeah, for everybody. So that's my just off the cuff thing, and let me know.
All right, moving to 21B, approve management, confidential, and supervisor compensation and benefits for 2022, 2023, and 2023, 2024. Ms. Olson.
Thank you. Likewise, with our tentative agreements for management, we bring forward to you a settlement for 22, 23, and 23, 24. I've met with the leadership of NMAA, who represents our administrators and our confidential employees, the president being Carrie Adams, and then also with our supervisors group, met with Bobby Lombard and Tim Waller, and discussed the conditions and the for health and welfare benefits and for salary. And so we ask that the board approve it with equity the same as our other employee groups.
Any discussion, questions? All right.
To make it, because there was a question about it earlier, and I think this is something I used to have a question about. Just to be clear that the approvals that we are doing are directly connected to what we are doing for all of our employees. So it's not that we're picking and choosing or that we're giving only management raises or any of that conversation. So could you explain that a little bit more? Because I know that was confusing for people.
Certainly. So settling with our management groups can happen either before or after our other union groups. In this particular case, we settled with both CSEA and NMFT and then met and conferred with management. And it has been historical in the district that what is given and granted to our other employee groups is given to management.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. May I have a motion?
I move that we approve the management confidential and supervisor compensation benefits for 2022 to 2023 and for the 2023 and 2024 school year.
May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Metoyer, seconded by trustee Wygant. Roll call vote.
Student Board Member Kate Cherry,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Matoye,
Yes.
Trustee Crane,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson,
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou,
Yes.
Trustee Wygant,
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey.
Yes.
We move on to 21C, approve executive staff compensation and benefits for 2022, 2023, and 2023, 2024. Dr. Smith.
The sentiments in history have been articulated several times. Now, I'll just say that this group similarly is treated like the other units, and they have contractual agreements with the district, and those cost of living adjustments are in contract language. And so we bring those forward tonight, and Mr. Trader has budgeted those items, and we can't afford them.
You want to just clarify, can't?
can.
Can.
It's been a long night.
All right, since we can afford them, I'd like to request a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by trustee Matoye. I did not see who
It
seconded.
was Mrs. Crane and Mrs. Wygant simultaneously, your choice.
Trustee Ursulou.
Okay, was it you? Yeah, well, let's give it to Mrs. Ursulou.
Yes, trustee
Dr.
Ursulou. All right, so it's been moved by trustee Matoye, seconded by trustee Ursulou. Roll call vote?
Student Board Member Kate Cherry?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Wygant?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Okay, we move to 21D, approve First Amendment to Employment Agreement for Superintendent. This is relatively routine in nature, but this is something that we have as part of this contract, which pending a positive review, we agree to extend the employment agreement for Superintendent Smith. Did anyone have any comments on that? Thank you. All right, may I have a motion?
I so moved.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Crane, seconded by trustee Anderson. Roll call vote.
Student Board Member Kate Cherry?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Wygant?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Right, we move to 21E, approve the 2021-2022 unaudited actuals report. Mr. Trader.
Thank you. It's good to be with you tonight. Is this alt? What? Oh, did it wrong. There we go. Sorry. I just want to take a minute to gush on Pam Saunders for a moment. She's worked in our accounting area for 21 years. Her work ethic is renowned. In fact, many times late at night, I declare her the winner because she's the last one in the office. So she'll be sorely missed, and we'll probably have to increase the budget because it'll take 2 people to replace her. So we're really happy for her. So let's let's take a look at our unaudited actuals. And I appreciate the opportunity to come before you because it's so important that you have confidence in the numbers. And the numbers have been prepared according to Ed Code and Governmental Accounting Board standards. And that's a lot of work. So you approve them by law, they conform to all of the laws and regulations, and believe me, there's a lot of them out there. And so there's a lot of work that goes into these reports. But the key is that you have confidence in the numbers. That's so important that the board has confidence in these numbers. We also, at this time, we update our 22-23 beginning fund balances. So you'll see, as we end the year in 21-22, we're guessing at what the ending fund balance is going to be, and therefore guessing what the beginning fund balance is going to be in the 22-23 year. Now we know, and so we're going to update those, and you'll see those changes. So let's talk about, this is a rear view mirror look at things. You're usually looking forward, right? When we talk about budget, it's always a forward glance. Now let's get in the rear view mirror and take a look and see what happened. And this should be the most boring presentation you ever have, because if we did our job perfectly, you would see a flat line on all of these charts. And so therefore you can ask about why they're not so flat. But let's talk about enrollment trend. Enrollment trend is starting to flatten. In fact, this year our enrollment exceeded our projections. And that tells us, because our projections are based on birth rates and what's happening in terms of development, and because they exceeded our expectations, our budget, that tells us that something good is happening out there. And so we're seeing enrollment flatten a lot, and that's a very good trend, and it exceeds our expectations. So let's talk about restricted revenue. Restricted revenue is a little bit higher on the unrestricted side. So remember, we're kind of split up into restricted and unrestricted. And so when you look at here, this chart here, this is going to show you where two lines there, unrestricted, restricted, and total. And then we're going to parse that out into June adoption. And then, we always come to you at the interims. And then we have an estimated actual. And then we have unaudited actual. And so if we did our job perfectly again, you would see all these bar charts would have a straight line, flat line, because we would be exactly according to what we said we were going to be at June adoption. So let's just take a look and see where we're at. So if you look here, there we are at June adoption for unrestricted, there we are at restricted, and we have a total, and so on and so forth. And so you can see here, beginning at the first interim, you see there's a slight change in the unrestricted, but more change in the restricted side, right? And that pattern is going to continue as we move forward here on that. And so you see there, again, on the unrestricted side, we kind of back down again, and restricted continues to go up, and you see there the total. So that where we end up with unaudited actual, it's all the restricted side on the revenue side. And that's because the state and the federal governments have really supported us in helping our students with the tremendous needs that they have associated with COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, we've got 10 major programs for $65 million that we're spending over a multi-year period. And so we're trying to catch up with that. And you can see there that restricted revenue was, we missed that by about 75%. A little wrinkle there, and this is just for all the accountants here in the room. We booked on behalf STRS payment for the very first time. And that's for GASB 84. Aren't you loving this? This is like watching paint dry. But it was the first time we did that. And that's to recognize the contribution the state makes towards CalSTRS retiree benefits on our books. So let's then look at expense. Expense was lower than expected. And again, this is kind of a trend that we see normally, because we always think we're going to spend every dollar, and we don't quite make it there. But you can see there at June adoption, there we are. And coming here at first interim, we're down a bit. But look at the restricted side, it's up, right? that matches the revenue increase, right? We would expect to see that. And then you come here at second interim, again, up. And then estimated actuals, we're coming down because we're realizing, all right, where are we at, right? We're taking a look there. And then, of course, unaudited actuals, and you can see there that we're slightly down from, but very close in terms of overall, because we're lower on the unrestricted side, but higher on the restricted side. So encroachment impacts, we had very little encroachment in terms of, if you look here, there's a couple things going on yet. Transfers out and encroachment. Encroachment supports our restricted programs, special ed, transportation, the nutrition services. And so you see with this here, transfers out, June adoption and encroachment, we increase a bit, staying pretty stable. And then when we come to estimated actual, you see transfers out making a large jump there. And then encroachment slightly down, but then you see that continue at unaudited actual. And so the big change there is transfers out of the general fund. So then ending fund balance change, we had an unrestricted balance change of $9 million increasing, and our restricted ending fund balance increased by $16.5 million. And again, that's for all of the restricted money that we're recognizing in this year. And it's significant. So you're seeing there a ending fund balance change, but it's primarily driven by the restricted side. So with that then, when we look at our reserves, that black line is the ending fund balance, and this red line is the percent of reserves for economic uncertainties, and cash flow needs. And that happens to almost correlate, we're almost there, to 17%, which is recommended by the state's Department of Finance, indicating that 17% reserve is appropriate and something that districts should have. And so we're almost there at 16.4%. So with that, then you'll see here's how expenditures were in the 21-22 year. You can see there most of it is instruction and pupil services, and then plant services. Now, plant services is up. We, the board has made a commitment at Measure A. We made a commitment to the community that we would spend 4% on our routine restricted maintenance. And we've had a hard time getting there. And so there's a lot of work in getting to 4%. And this year I really have to hand it to our maintenance and operations and facilities folks, because they got to 4.7%. And that translates to millions of dollars. It translates to flooring, to roofs, to keeping our schools open and in good repair. And so really pleased with that. So with that, then, I just want to recommend this to you, that you approve this, and I'm open for any questions that you might have. All right.
I see one question. Trustee Anderson.
I was hoping somebody else wanted to go
Oh,
first.
now they're coming.
Oh. Thank you for this. Thank you for making it so clear. I was noticing, as you said, there's a big change from June of going from 4 million for restricted to 16 million now. Do you have any, and I know that's federal and state money, so there's a lot of strings attached. Do you have any recommendations on things that we should use that money for, so we're not leaving it on the table?
So I'm really glad you brought that up, because we don't want to leave a cent on the table. And we have charts that are tracking these dollars, and we're putting, I know perhaps Ed Services can chime in here about what we're doing in terms of staffing, because we are really staffing to help the students. Do you want to comment on that a little bit?
As you know, all of our sites have an additional full-time reading support teacher, literacy teacher, or intervention teacher, as well as additional hourly support. And so we have increased staffing, as well as, although, like every district in Orange County, in the state, we are also staffing higher in instructional aides, but having a difficult time filling those positions because of the workforce issues that we're having. But as they come open, and Human Resources is doing a great job, churning any new application out and getting those to the schools. So those are the main areas that we're in personnel increasing service.
Additionally, in secondary schools, it looks a little bit different because we don't necessarily have that one-on-one intervention specialist at every school site. But we do work with our secondary school principals to look at target areas where they're trying to increase student academic achievement. And then we provide additional staffing in those areas. So it's very targeted. And while we have right-sized our resources at the secondary level, meaning we have at times reduced and adjusted staffing to be more reflective of the number of students we have in each classroom. We have worked really closely with principals to target that instruction and give them back what we call FTEs, or teachers, but ensuring that they're working towards a targeted goal that has measurable outcomes in an area where we know students need that support.
We also increased the unrestricted allocation to the sites by 10% this year. Oh. And I know we're looking at that and seeing what that is doing, and we may need to adjust that further as the year goes by.
Thank you. And how, specifically about that for our current allotment, how is that supporting us specifically at our school sites?
So on the unrestricted side, that's purely, the principals are able to use that for a myriad of kinds of things in terms of even, supplies, PE kinds of things, recess sort of things. They can use things for training for staff and other supports in the classroom. So it's pretty unrestricted and self-directed by the principal.
And are you seeing that number go up? Because I think it was less than 10% previously, right? So if it's at 10 and we're still possibly needing more, what are you seeing our sites reporting back to you?
So I think so we increased the per student rate by 10% this year, but what's happened is we have benchmarked enrollment kind of like the state did. The state said, hey, you know what? We know that COVID is having a dramatic impact on your enrollment, and so we're going to keep your enrollment the same. And that's what we did with our sites. But this is the first year where we adjusted enrollment for the decrease that has happened. And so the sites are looking at this and they're saying, oh my goodness, my budget has, even though the per student rate has gone up, the total amount has gone down. And so we're watching that really carefully and working with Ed Services to make sure that the sites have the appropriate resources to do what they need to do.
Great, thank you. And as you mentioned about the routine maintenance, I think I'm always one that I would love to, help our elementary MPRs and do some of those routine maintenance items that seemed to have possibly been on pause for several years. So I just wanted to thank Lance for really prioritizing that. It looks like there's $29 million of unrestricted funds for that to keep up with our buildings from the 1960s. So I really appreciate that investment. I think we're seeing it at a lot of our schools. I'm hearing from a lot of people in the neighborhood like, great, the schools got painted near me. So thank you. Thank you for adding in the $8 million for Fund 17. I'm really excited for us to continue to discuss possibly using that. And one idea that comes to mind is science camp, because I think that's something that could help every school in the district. And so it wouldn't just be one side of town or the other. That is all. I am done speaking. I know someone else is eager.
Mr. Trader, did you, as you mentioned, a big part of these funds are COVID related, so they're finite. And so are we making sure that our staff knows when we give them this extra help in the classrooms and all this, that's not necessarily going to be sustainable? Yeah. Right? Or are we committed to maintaining certain programs that are working, or?
So yes, there will be in the year 25-26, there will be some changes, but we're very thoughtful about it. And the board has sufficient reserves to do that thoughtfully. And so we can take our time in assessing what's working, what's not, and adjusting at that time.
Okay. And then I do have a question that has to do with the districts. You mentioned that the state recommends a 17% reserve for best practice, and we are almost there. I am aware that some districts around the state are bankrupt and things. So how do we rate as far as stability compared to other districts in our state? I would think we're in that top tier when it comes to reserves.
I think we're solid. I wouldn't consider us, heads and shoulders above other districts, but we're in a good place in terms of being able to ensure stability.
Yes.
For our students, and we know that times are good now, but they aren't going to be good going forward in a couple years. We're going to see some slowing, and so the board has reserves, and that part of that $8 million in Fund 17 can be used to thoughtfully make changes as its funding goes away.
Thank you.
Jeff, did you want to clarify too the state recommendation for community-funded districts and why that recommendation is as high as it is? Because most districts in the state are not community-funded, and so they don't have that same threshold, but maybe a little bit more about why, so we're clear.
Thank you. So being basic aid, we have a cash dry period between July and December, and it's significant. We get very little cash between July and December. And if we don't have enough cash to survive that, we have to use a credit card. And that credit card means we have to go to the Wall Street folks, the money changers, and let me tell you, it's expensive. We have to hire attorneys, we have to hire financial advisors, underwriters. It's expensive and something that if we don't have to do, we sure would like to avoid doing that.
I was looking previously. I know I'd spoken with you about transportation, and I know for secondary transportation is a little bit different than it is for elementary, and it's kind of built into the secondary budgets. And one of the things as I was at back to school night that was mentioned to me from a few teachers was the need and desire to do more field trips. I know at Ray they do one field trip a year, and I think there's a lot of projects and things that we can maybe catch up on for children that did not have a lot of exposure during COVID times. So I was just wondering, is that something we could probably use for one-time funds, and how would we go about doing that for elementary?
That's a great question. We'll take a look at that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to be clear, Jeff was prepared tonight to go over the unaudited actuals, and I know there's got to be, district processes for budget development, and we're going to have a conversation pretty soon next month about facilities, in fact, and some use for those funds. And as we look at budget development, we'll bring those ideas back to you based on data and need and so on and so forth. But mostly tonight, Jeff was just trying to get the unaudited actuals in front of everybody. Thanks.
Trustee Matoye.
I would like to make a motion to approve the 2021-2022 unaudited actuals report.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Trustee Matoye, seconded by Trustee Yelsey. We have a roll call vote.
Student Board Member Kate Cherry?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Okay, 21F, approve addition to high school course of study. Dr. Torres.
Sorry, I got thinking about field trips for a second. I got all excited. I was like, what are we doing? This is exciting. We do have one additional course of study. So one of the things that happens as we continue to build out our pathways at the high school in order for us to be able to really provide students that college and career readiness, more than one course is the goal. And so we're so excited to announce that we're adding an additional class of culinary arts, additional, meaning we're having another level of culinary arts over right now at Newport Harbor High School. So that's what you have in front of you tonight for your approval.
Thank you. Any questions? Trustee Matoye.
It really isn't really a question. When I was reading this, I was pleased to note that a lot of the focus in this particular course is on the artistic presentation of food. And all I could think of was, oh, wow, our kids are learning how to make fancy, tiny little dishes that cost a whole bunch of money. So what a great career for them to have, all that pretty food. And I just thought it was a neat thing to do. Good for us.
Our own Netflix special.
Yep, that's cool.
All right, can
Top chef.
we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Trustee Crane, seconded by Trustee Weigand. Roll call vote.
Student Board Member Kate Cherry?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Okay, we have some adoptions to board policy. So 21G, first reading and adoption to modifications to board policy. Dr. Torres or Dr. Jacob?
Okay, I'll take the first one. So we have modification to board policy for independent study. Independent study has been under review for the past 2 years due to COVID and current legislation that sunsetted on June 30th. And so the changes that you have in front of you are a result of that legislation having sunsetted and us moving forward.
Anyone have any questions on these? Did the Board Policy Review Committee want to make a comment?
These are really long and complex. I'm glad we did them ahead of time.
All right, and then Dr. Jocham, we have Board Policy 1312.3, Uniform Complaint Procedures.
This is actually a joint policy coming forward from this side of the room, from Human Resources and Student Services, and essentially uniform complaints are primarily around students, and it's appropriate for Student Services to be the person the entity that investigates those. And so we're, making some of those changes. And then there was some recommended language to really kind of bullet out, instead of having the information in long paragraphs about the different types of uniform complaints that are around. So we would ask for your approval in approving the changes to this board policy.
Any additional, Trustee Crane?
Just really quick, did the policy team look it over and everything? So all's good, right?
Yeah, the policy team met and, well, would the policy team like to comment on what the process for policy review is?
We spent ample time going over both of these
So
policies.
we're confident.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So is this just to approve the
This is
first
to
reading?
approve.
Or can we approve?
This is to approve the first reading and adoption. We can break it up into first reading and then do adoption in the future if you wish.
We can also, oh gosh, there's language. Move to waive the second reading, but adopt it now.
We've done that in the
We've done
past.
that in the past.
So that's what the agenda item is currently set up, is to first reading and adoption.
Okay. Right, but that's, because that's what we legally have to do, but we can move to waive the second reading and move to adopt.
Yeah, if there's some confusion in the audience, because there certainly isn't up here, we all get it. But some districts, the board doesn't weigh in until it comes here. So the first reading is the first time any trustee has looked at this. But in this district, it's been the practice to get a group of the board together to do a first read for the board and bring this for the board's consideration to waive the first reading, accept it as a second reading, and adopt if it's their desire to do so.
So we're not here till midnight.
Yes, that helps. Because if we had all seven of us
Quite a
doing,
while.
yeah, if we had all seven of us doing what the three of us did, it would.
Well, we are very grateful.
Right, so if there are no further comments, may I have a motion?
So I make a motion, we approve the first reading and adopt the modifications to the board policy.
May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Yelsey, seconded by Trustee Ursulou. Roll call vote.
Student Board Member Kate Cherry?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Okay, so now we move on to 21H. Dr. Jocham.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity to take a few moments to pull the item and get the information for you. So this is a renewal of a contract that we have with Care Solace. And as you recall, Care Solace is a wonderful partner that we've had in the district for a couple of years. And it allows students, families, or staff to reach out and be connected with an appropriate entity to help them with their mental health or social emotional needs and issues. The first year that we had Care Solace was on a part-time basis. We brought them in mid-year, and so that contract was definitely less. Our last contract compared to this year, this contract is $10,000 more. It's part of the cost of doing business. In talking with Sarah Coley, we are going to reach out to them to ensure what it's a per student amount as well, as to make sure they're using kind of our latest student numbers for our ADA to be able to do that. But the actual usage of Care Solace has grown, and it's the feedback that we've gotten from the data from the company reviewed through our student services department is that it continues to be a worthy partner for the district, and we would ask for your consideration in approving it.
Okay, may I have a motion?
I move that we approve our MOU with Care Solace as stated.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by, any additional questions?
Sure. Yeah, one of the reasons that I initially brought this up when we first got this contract, and I continue to ask about it, especially now since it's gone up so much, is because it is very similar to the free county 211. And one of my concerns is we haven't promoted that with parents, so we don't really know what the numbers would be versus what we're paying for Care Solace. And I understand that they have a good reputation, but I'm really concerned about the per pupil amount, how much we're actually getting charged and how much we're using their services. It does look like this is a 1-year contract, so I'm going to approve it, but I would like to see more regular updates on the numbers, because I ask at least twice a year and I haven't seen them in a while. So I just would like to see and make sure that it is cost effective and it is doing the services that we want it to. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, may I get a roll call vote? Oh, sorry, Trustee Ursulou.
No, and just one item similar to what Trustee Anderson is saying. It would be great to know the numbers from Care Solace of actual connected referrals, like that went all the way through, because what I was hearing from families was that they were getting referred to services that had waiting lists, that weren't taking new patients, that weren't available. So giving them those phone numbers to then call to then never get serviced is kind of tricky. So I'd love to see like fully connected numbers of who actually saw a psychiatrist, therapist, XYZ from it.
So if and we can also ask them, but when you look at the usage data, and so we'll clarify with them that when it talks about total appointments, that's confirmed appointments with a provider. So we can follow up to determine, how long it took families to get in, or is there, a one and done, or was there continued care? So we can refine our data that we're asking them for in documentation.
May I get a roll call vote?
Student Board Member Kate Cherry?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Great. Now we move to 22, Resolution Adoption Calendar. We move to 22A, Adopt Resolution 050922, Conflict of Interest Code 2022 Biennial Review. Dr. Smith.
Yeah, this is a requirement, like it says, biennial, to make sure that the codes and the people associated with the codes are accurate. The codes haven't changed and the list is accurate.
I move that we adopt Resolution 050922, Conflict of Interest Code 2022 Biennial Review.
May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Matoye, seconded by Trustee Weigand. Roll call vote.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Moving on to item 22B, Adopt Resolution 060922, GAN limit for 2021-22, and estimated GAN limit for 2022-2023. Mr. Trader.
With the closure of the 21-22 books, it's now apparent that the district's appropriations limit from local sources do not exceed the GAN limit. For both 21-22 and 22-23, it's recommended that you adopt this resolution.
Do I have any questions? May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Crane, seconded by trustee Anderson. Roll call vote?
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Matoye?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey?
Yes.
Right. With that, we move to 23 informal reports. Superintendent?
Yeah, I'm going to start where I always do with our students. Had a chance to visit a lot of the sites in the first several weeks of school. The excitement is, again, it is so motivating. Students look happy, they're smiling, they're better adjusted than they've been, but also walking through classrooms, seeing the impact of some of the training we've done, thinking maps and things like that being implemented day one. And then our TK classrooms, spent some time in those and seeing how we got those ready. Salud. It's worth noting that this is one of those programs for which we don't get funding. The state took one small portion of the districts in California and said, we're going to have an unfunded mandate for you. The first time in generations we've had a new grade level without funding, so it's beholden upon the district to cover this, and the board has, and these classrooms are cool. And the students are learning, and if you get a chance and you let me know you're heading by, we'll show you some classrooms with the TKs. They're inspiring. You know, there are quite a few funding issues like that, by the way. Today we saw the summer school and expanded learning. You'll remember that the funding is only for TK6 for Title I schools. So anything we do beyond that and everything we do at the secondary level is beholden upon the district to fund those things. So really, really great work being done with some of these funds that Jeff has talked about today. I want to thank Harbor Council and all the work that they do supporting our schools and our students. The council members at the first meeting I attended were just over the moon with excitement for the year, and they commented on the positivity they're seeing at the school sites and how happy they are to be back. So thank you for all the work that they do. Speaking of these partners and getting around, I did get to go by the Wilson Learning Center. Olga had a meeting. It was great. I got to work on my Spanish again. I'll just say this. If Olga gives you a script and says, come prepared to address this, she may throw you a curveball and say, now we're going to do Q&A instead. So just be ready to do a little Q&A. But it was great because parents were talking about, you know, how do they help their students know about college funding, right? These are families saying, we want our kids to go to college. And how do we get more funding? How do we learn about that? How do we more easily enroll our students in your schools? If we have family members or folks coming to the district, how do we help them enroll? And one of the reasons we moved the enrollment center back to the school sites, because it's closer to them. So we're able to share that. And then a variety of other things. Also was able to meet with the Anderson deans I mentioned earlier, same kinds of stuff. How can we help? How can we work together? Met with Trellis and also the Costa Mesa Leadership Group, where they had similar conversations. How can we help you better serve your students? I say there's reason for absolute optimism and beyond that, even confidence in this district because we have community allies like that to support staff. I'm going to keep bragging. Our labor leaders here are special. The relationships we have in this district are special. This doesn't happen everywhere, and it never happens by accident. The ability to come together and do the hard work that we do is because people are committed to the relationship and doing the work for students. And this is really, really what it should look like across the state. We'll be participating in the California Labor Management Initiative so we can continue to be intentional about growing that relationship. And we'll report back on that. And Pam, you're just special. You really are. And so I've done this a long time. I know a lot of labor leaders. You're tops. So thank you for what you've done there. By the way, I don't know if he's still translating. Is Javier still translating? Oh, man. He bailed like 15 minutes too soon because he was going to translate this. if I could pronounce it correctly. I'm struggling tonight with cans and can'ts. But Javier Zamorano got the award, the 2022 Multilingual Award of Distinction for our county. How cool is that, right? And then one more bit of good news since we're on a roll tonight. You probably saw that the governor announced that the testing requirement for unverified employees is no longer a requirement as of the 17th. So after the 17th, we'll no longer do that, and that includes our volunteers. So we've let our employees and our volunteers know that's going away, and we can focus our efforts in other areas.
Thank you. We have our board member reports, and I'm going to go first tonight because I have a little bit longer. I was very pleased to be able to go to many back-to-school, first days of school, back-to-school nights, and it was really amazing to see students focused. And one thing I saw both in summer school and in my own students' writing and in the classrooms is the focus on writing and robust writing, and the level of focus on full paragraphs from an early age and complex ideas and comparing and contrasting is something that we've always talked about, and I am really seeing in action these past few weeks. So that was really inspiring to see. But the other thing I wanted to share is I was trying to think of words of why I am so, why I believe so much in public schools and why I believe so much in this district. And sometimes the best words come before us, and it's important to admit when people have written better words maybe than what we could have said. But I was over there yesterday morning thinking about what I was going to say at this board meeting, and noticed there's a little plaque. If you get a chance to read it, it's on the wall. It's clear. It's really small. Most people have probably never seen it, but I was getting some coffee, and while I was waiting for my cup to fill up, I noticed it, and the words caught me, and I'm going to read. It's long, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I invite you to come and take a look at this plaque because I think it's, you know, what a lot of our community believes about our schools, and again, what has been there for a long time because a lot of folks have believed it for a long time, and I think is part of why our community is so special. So we have this: we believe our first responsibility is to provide a quality educational program that meets the needs of all students in this district. We believe that we teach the whole child. We expect academic achievement, personal responsibility, honesty, cultural sensitivity, and respect for people, property, and the environment. We believe that all children can learn the best in a safe, clean, caring, aesthetically pleasing environment. We believe that when we come together as one community, we are enriched by our cultural diversity. We believe that people are our most important resource and should be treated with respect and dignity. We believe that we need parents as partners with the school and district in sharing ideas and giving input to major decisions affecting their children's education. We believe that we have the responsibility to demonstrate the effective and wise use of money and resources. We believe that we serve our students and our community best when we work together as a team. So something that I've been in this room a long time and have never noticed, and invite you, if you're ever getting coffee in that corner, to read it yourself or just come up and take a look. Thank you.
I'm next. You're next. Okay. I didn't know we were going that way.
Which started with me last time, so we can start with you.
It was a great opening to school. I think we all went to classes during the first week. We went to PTA meetings, foundation meetings, back to school nights. Everybody is really excited this year. The kids are really excited. I think all of our student board members who are here can say that students in their schools are happy to be back and learning full-time. So that's fabulous. One thing I just wanted to make everyone aware of, because hopefully the word will get out more in the month of October, the CDM Foundation is having their 60th anniversary gala on October 22nd. It is a year-long planning process for this. They are trying to raise enough money to have an endowment, so they won't have to keep asking parents for money. It's an all-day celebration at the schools. They're inviting everybody who's ever had anything to do with the school, including former employees, parents, students. A lot of people are flying in for this specifically. They will have tours of the school. And I've heard some retired teachers say they're so excited because they've never seen the middle school enclave. They've never seen the theater. They've never seen our new athletic facility. So that will be great. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there will be a dedication of the Bill Sumner track, which we all approved up here, but there will be a specific ceremony for that. And additionally, there will be a nighttime event at the Dunes with 3 bands, all kinds of food, everything going on, from what I've heard. So even if you didn't attend CDM, if you have anything to do with our community, everyone is invited. And please look out for the announcements on that. And then I just want to make an observation, just sitting here, and I know we don't respond to people making public comments, but I was really pleased, actually, that we had such a robust, varied group of people presenting tonight. It was interesting. I didn't know what anybody would be talking about. But then some people started getting up and saying that they're pretty sure the board had a part in crafting some of these messages that were presented to us. I know I didn't personally, and I doubt anybody on the board knew what was being said by any of these people. So I take offense to that, and it's not the first time we've been accused of things that don't actually happen. And I'm looking out in the room, and I'm seeing some of the people who made public comments, but they're not the people who were involved in these public comments. Unfortunately, those people make their comments and leave at every board meeting, so they never have an opportunity to hear all the wonderful things we're doing or give any feedback. And additionally, I guess I'm just at the point where I'm getting tired in general of people coming up here and accusing us or stating lies, misrepresenting what we say, or falsehoods about anything going on. And I'll give just a couple of examples. This thing with the gingerbread man that keeps getting brought up at all our meetings, we don't use a gingerbread man book in our curriculum in any of our schools. But because people get up here and state that, there are people in the community that think that's what we do. So it's really unfortunate. I wish there was a way that we could stop the spread of these lies, but we can't, because people have the opportunity to get up, and we give them that opportunity. Not every district gives people the opportunity to stand up here for 3 minutes and state whatever they want to state. Many school districts now, because of what's happening in their school board rooms, go into closed session and they hold their meetings in private because they can, because we're doing our business in a public forum, but it is our business. So we could go into a closed session. We opt not to do that. It's just very frustrating that they take so many of our statements out of context. And I hope that the community is starting to realize what is going on in this situation.
All right. Thank you for those comments. I want to say I was, yes, back to school has been great. Yeah, I know that from personal experience, it's been inspiring to see our kids at school. It's been inspiring to see our teachers. I know I've talked to a bunch of admins that have said that they've never been so excited about being, start of a school year, and they felt very excited and refreshed for this year because of some of the training that we did do before the school year started with our admins, and then the PD with our teachers. So thank you, Superintendent Smith, for organizing those, and the assistant superintendents as well. I attended the community liaison meeting with Newport Beach, and we had that yesterday, and everyone was in attendance, and city manager, police, Public Works Department, and we talked about, a lot of things that are going on in the community right now. We talked about e-bikes. Obviously, with the start of the school year, we're seeing a lot more e-bikes on the streets, and we talked to the police department about, enforcement, and they will start enforcing the e-bike regulations and ticketing starting in the next week or so. One thing that the police did say is that, at Ensign this year, to be able to bring your e-bike on campus, you had to take a test, a class on bike safety, road safety, and then get a sticker that you had to put on your there we go. It's right there. Put on your bike, and and then you can bring your bike on campus and lock it in the bike racks there. So, education is one piece, but now we're moving into enforcement. So that's exciting, and we aimed not to be mean, and they aim not to be mean by any stretch of the mind, but to just keep our students safe. And that's what we're here for, is keeping our students safe on campus and to and from campus. They also talked about how they are going to start working on a complete streets master plan. So some of our streets might look a little bit different. Maybe there's some wider sidewalks, or maybe there's some specific bike lanes that might be wider. So we're taking that into account, and as we work with the city, they can talk to us about the traffic flows, and we can get input from the community and from our schools to make sure that we really do have safe roadways to and from schools. So it was, all in all, it was a great meeting. It's a great always to have us involved with the police and with the city, so to make sure that we're ticked and tied with all the programs and services that we offer.
Great, yes, I think echoing what Trustee Wygant said, I think September is like the happiest month of the year for parents. The kids are back at school, calm is restored in the kingdom, we can get back to work. So I just had a couple of comments. Just to let everyone know, we have actually a few Ukrainian refugee families that are now over at Adams, and it's been really a pleasure helping them get settled. And I want to thank Sarah's team for getting the kids backpacks and notebooks and kind of getting them more peacefully settled in than where they were about a month ago. So I really appreciate Sarah's team helping out with that and making sure the kiddos get settled, and the staff at Adams has been really great about that. And I just want to follow up on what one of the public speakers said, Ms. Ruth Kobayashi, and she presented us with this, I think it's a screenshot from an Instagram page, the "We will tear down to rebuild," that sort of divisive language that she was alluding to, because it is just really divisive. And although I admire parents that want to get engaged, I know Ruth was engaged in the Human Relations Task Force. Her and I were in a couple of the committee meetings together, and I know we have very different worldviews, but it was always fun to be in the committees and hear other people's opinions and respectfully discuss and learn about tolerance for diverse thought. And that's kind of the way I know most of us here want to roll and want to engage with folks. But some of what's out there, I do admire the parents that want to run for elected office too. I was one of those parents that wanted to run for elected office. You go out there, you do it the right way, you register with the FEC, you get your ID number, you get a campaign committee set up, and that's kind of how you run a legit campaign. And it just seems like that's not necessarily what's happening all the time. It's more sort of this agitational vocal voice out there. So I just wanted to also clear up a few things, because I know folks come here and tell us that this is our job. Actually, many of us have other real full-time jobs. This is our voluntary position, which if you do the math, Jeff Trader probably knows we make about $5 an hour, maybe, on a good day. On a good day. But I spent my weekend and then much of today reviewing all of that the controversial health science book, all like 700 pages of it. So I can tell you that I've seen it, and that the state, sorry, Trustee Wygant and I have been infested here, but ants have been crawling on us much of the night, and there's one right here in my
Mr. Bidnick, take note.
But the health sciences book, it is really in compliance with the state guidelines. The state gives us guidelines and says, hey, you must teach about gender identity and sexual orientation. And that's what the book does. There's a table in it about the 10 common sexual orientations. It's not indoctrination, it's not grooming anybody, it's a health science book with some definitions of scientific terms. So I have a shot of I took a picture of the table. I'm gonna put it on my Instagram so everyone can see it. It's really not rocket science or earth-shattering, but I think the folks that are really uncomfortable by this health science book, it scares me a little bit, because what's the next thing? Communism makes me uncomfortable. Totalitarianism makes me uncomfortable. Should we not learn about them? So because something makes you uncomfortable doesn't mean that folks can't learn about it. So I just want to remind everybody that although folks have been very vocal at this meeting, coming up and saying their opinion on what they think of sex ed curriculum. There's been a lot of other parents that have been texting me, emailing, and saying that they want more age-appropriate sex ed at a younger grade. Teaching kids about menstruation in 7th grade, to our CDM students' point, is too late, right? It's too late to be learning about things. He was saying 12th grade was too late, but 7th grade is too late when menstruation can start in 5th or 6th grade for girls. So we are also hearing from a lot of other parents on the side of increasing the age-appropriate sex ed. So I just want everyone to be aware of that as well. And I just don't want to miss the point of one of the parents that was here about AB 452, the gun safety. That is something that I hope, I know staff has been having to spend a lot of time on sex ed and CRT and various things, but I hope that we can look into AB 452 and find out what she's talking about regarding gun safety, and if other districts are already submitting those kind of letters, it would be great. So thank you.
All right. I also was able to attend all of the back to school nights for my 5 schools, which is tricky because they were very closely linked together. Thankfully, Ray had theirs the night before, but I got to spend a bit of time at each of the schools, thankfully, talking to a lot of the PTA leaders. And that leads me to, I'm really excited that we are partnering with the parents a bit more and doing walk to school. And really getting kind of that sustained commitment. I think it's really difficult for our principals to add one more thing to their plate. So to work with the PTAs is really wonderful. And I just wanted to add a couple of schools because we're actually doing Walk to School Day on October 5th and on October 12th because our city police officers and people that are working with that can't do every school in one day. And so for people who may want to attend, October 5th is College Park. And these are the Costa Mesa specific. So I know Vicki had a few that were in Newport. College Park, Victoria, Sonora, Kaiser, Whittier, Ray, and Pomona. Ray and Pomona are doing theirs together. And then October 12th is Killybrook, Paularino, Wilson, Adams, and California Elementary. And there was lots of discussion at the active transportation meeting for Costa Mesa about including Ensign because a lot of students live in Costa Mesa as well, even though the school is in Newport. So I would love for us, I know we've been doing our respective meetings in cities, but I think it would be great at some point soon to get together and have those conversations, particularly about a safe way to school to Ensign. And I was just wondering, speaking of Javier, who is amazing, would it be possible to have our translators stay to the end of the meeting? I think it might be time limited currently, but I just think like there's parents that may need translation through the whole meeting, and I've noticed I think it's time bound. And I want to also report back that parents are very excited about the change in time for the after school programs. Everyone is really excited, including the staff on our campuses, about all that we're offering for expanded learning opportunities and the ability to get kids out before 6 p.m. So thank you for doing that. And then lastly, I had lots of questions about our budget because formerly I wasn't allowed to be part of budget development or any of those conversations. So this will be the first time. And I thank Jeff for all of the times he answers all of my questions. So thank you.
All right. Well, first, I do like the news that came from Sacramento. Superintendent, thank you for sharing that with us. Not only will there be some happy people out there, but I think we also save money, right? Because we're not using the services anymore to get all the tests tested and all that. So it's a win-win all around. I did want to, you also had mentioned, piggybacking to Superintendent, you mentioned allies, community allies, and how important they are. And I've mentioned that always as a theme of Newport-Mesa aligning itself with amazing nonprofits and such. So wanted to do a special thank you to the Patrick Purpose Foundation and the Exchange Club of Newport Beach, who they just dedicated a buddy bench at Whittier. And the buddy bench basically is a be inclusive bench. So whenever when you see someone sitting on that bench by themselves, then you go sit with them. And the message is basically be inclusive and be a buddy. So thank you. And also wanted to thank the Harbor Council PTA for creating an ad hoc committee for bike safety. And it's going to be an amazing collaboration. We're so happy that you are being proactive in regards to the safety of our kids. So thank you. There will be, on that note, there will be a Community Alliance Bike Safety meeting on Thursday, September 29th at 6 p.m. at Sanborn. And thank you, Sarah Coley and team, for coordinating the location and also being there and representing the district on a very important topic. And there's an and. So sorry. Lastly, the Newport-Mesa School Foundation is very busy. We attended a meeting last week, and they're very busy planning the State of Our School event, which is going to be on October 11th, 7 a.m., being hosted by Newport Harbor High School. Thank you. Go Sailors. And it is open for everyone, and again, it is the event of the year, so please make sure you get your tickets. Thank you.
Which are $33 because we have 33 schools, which I think is kind of cool. Trustee Ursoilu and Wygand and I attend monthly Costa Mesa United Youth Sports meetings, and it's wonderful because they discuss our cooperation and collaboration with all of the organizations, including our district, on using fields in Costa Mesa, because sadly, sometime way back, well before all of us, planning for parks wasn't part of the key, so we get to share our grounds with them. But the city has worked on Jordan Park by Kaiser, and they now have pickleball courts, which is apparently the hot topic for all people playing. So in Costa Mesa, we now have pickleball courts, and the Jack Hammond Field project upgrade has been completed, so that shouldn't affect any of our AYSO tournaments coming up in the future. The Chargers have effectively left, which gives us 2 beautiful fields. We have 1 more year of Chargers using our fields to do their practices before their own facility is built up in Inglewood, which has been very nice to have them visiting us. And also for those of you that are concerned about the fields over at Tewinkle, they have been the most used fields for baseball, that with Costa Mesa High School, and we're re-irrigating the fields at Tewinkle. And of course, we have problems with getting parts to come in to finish doing it. So we get started doing something, then we have transportation and parts issues, and it's through no fault of anyone. So as soon as everything comes in, we'll get them all done. Everybody's talked about everything else. I don't go to schools on the first week or 2 of school because I was a school principal and a teacher, and I really appreciated not having to entertain a board member who's smiling as wonderful as they were. So I'm doing my visits now, and I'm happy to report thinking maps are still being used in the classrooms because they had their training right before, so it's still going on. I still have a few schools to attend, and Costa Mesa's back to school night is tomorrow night, so I will be dropping in on them and honestly, it's for parents, so I don't stick around because they don't care that I'm there. It's for them to find out what their kids are going to be learning every year, and we know that, so that's good. Could we reiterate Javier's wonderful award at the beginning of our next board meeting at some point?
When he's there.
When he's here? That's all. I would like us to do that. And last but not least, we have these beautiful flowers that are provided, that we buy, that some board members buy, and these are prepared by our STEP program. They have a flower cart. They learn, these are our transitioning students who are older than high school but under 22, and they learn how to do flower arranging. Anyone in the district can get them or order them for the year. They come out at certain times. I don't know what they put in the water, but these things last easily 2 weeks long before they even start to hint that there's something going wrong. So it's just a nice shout out to the program that career and technical education doesn't stop at high school. So, and it's always been a good week, and I heard consistently from everybody that I've talked to what a great start of the school year it was. Thank you.
And Pam Saunders, thank you for your service.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. All right, with that, I will call the meeting to adjourn at 9:02 p.m.
Thank you, student board members, for sticking it out.
And